Chapter 36. Father. President. Tsing Hui. Seeing the two of them fly out at the same time, the Demon Hunters Association and the Divine Armament Tower quickly rushed up. Among them, the Demon Hunters Association was the first to support Wu Hunyuan, while Xian Long, Yu Shanshan, Qing Hong, and the others quickly rushed to Tsing Hui's side. Knowing that Tsing Hui had the regeneration pill, Xian Long immediately took out the bottle and gave it to him. Father. Wu Ju stared at the bloody hole in Wu Hunyuan's chest. His eyes were filled with terror. This kind of injury, even an awakening realm expert would die without a doubt. Why is it like this? Why is it like this? Mu Zhenzhen looked at the dying Wu Hunyuan, her face filled with pain. At this moment, she finally had a trace of regret in her heart. She regretted not stopping Wu Ju and Wu Hunyuan from taking revenge on Cho Tsing Hui. Otherwise, this scene would not have happened. Go. Go. Wu Hunyuan struggled to speak to Wu Ju with his last bit of strength. Defeated. He was defeated. He would die without a doubt. Once Cho Tsing Hui recovered, an awakening realm expert would bring a devastating blow to them. No. I won't go. Wu Ju cried out in pain. Then, as if thinking of something, he suddenly stood up, pointed in the direction of Tsing Hui, and shouted to the many blood-changing realm experts of the Demon Hunters Association, "Kill him! Kill him! He is now an arrow at the end of its flight. Kill him and avenge the president." Xian Yu was the first to react, immediately echoing loudly, "Kill him, take revenge for the president. No one can bully the Demon Hunters Association. Anyone who dares to bully the Demon Hunters Association must die. Kill." The rest of the blood-changing realm experts reacted one after another. They were furious, and one by one, they released their blood qi and rushed towards Tsing Hui. Not good. When Xian Long saw dozens of blood transformation experts swarming over, his face immediately turned deathly pale. "Miss Yu, Qing Hong, you guys take Prince Tsing Hui and leave quickly. I'll delay them for as long as I can." Manor Lord Xian, although Yu Shanshan didn't know why Xian Long was willing to risk his life to save Tsing Hui, her mission was to protect Tsing Hui first. Thus, she nodded heavily, "Tower Master Xian, take care. Let's go." "No need." At this time, Tsing Hui, who had just swallowed a regeneration pill, opened his eyes. He swept his gaze over the dozens of blood transformation martial scholars who had quickly surrounded him. There wasn't the slightest bit of panic in his eyes. "They're just chickens and pottery dogs. Since they still don't want to give up, I'll make them completely despair." Prince Tsing Hui, Xian Long wanted to say something, but Tsing Hui had already stood up. Even though the injuries on his body were also extremely serious, the Stage 2 recovery pill and the medicinal effects of the regeneration pill allowed him to already have the strength to fight. Furthermore, divine art. As Tsing Hui connected with the interface of the Son of Chaos, a brand new energy suddenly appeared in his body. In an instant, it filled his severely injured limbs and bones. Not only did this energy cause his strength to skyrocket, it also had a localized restorative effect, causing his originally heavily injured body to heal even faster than before. "Do you think you can kill me like this?" Tsing Hui looked at the martial scholar experts surrounding him and stretched out his hand. Sword. Xian Long didn't hesitate to hand over the ranked divine weapon in his hand to Tsing Hui. In the next moment, Tsing Hui's figure flew up and faced the dozens of blood transformation martial scholars from the Demon Hunters Association. Like a stream of light, he charged into them, "Shio." The sword light pierced through the air. The blood transformation martial scholar who bore the brunt of the attack didn't even have time to see the shadow of Tsing Hui's sword before the sharp edge of the sword cut through his throat. Dark red blood splattered across the sky, opening the prelude to this one-sided slaughter, Shio. With a flash of sword light, the head of the second martial scholar expert flew high into the air. Even in death, he was still in disbelief. One sword, one person, one sword, one person. Tsing Hui's figure constantly shuttled back and forth under the siege of dozens of blood transformation martial scholars. The trajectory of the sword was like an antelope's horn, completely natural. Dozens of martial scholar experts swarmed forward, but not a single one of them was able to block his sword. As long as he charged forward, there would inevitably be a storm of blood. This kind of exquisite swordsmanship, as fast as lightning, far exceeded the reaction and attack of blood transformation martial scholars. It completely crushed ordinary blood transformation martial scholars. At this moment, Tsing Hui's methods were even more terrifying than when he fought Wu Hunyuan. It was as if the battle with Wu Hunyuan was just a warm-up and he hadn't gone all out. 3, 4, 6, 10, 15, in less than 10 breaths, more than half of the 40 blood transformation martial scholars of the Demon Hunters Guild had fallen. Seeing the blood transformation martial scholars being easily slaughtered by Tsing Hui as if they were vegetables, Wu Ju, Mu Zhenjin, Xian Yu, and the others, who originally wanted to take advantage of Tsing Hui and Wu Zhenyuan's mutual injuries to kill them, suddenly felt a chill run down their spines. Despair. This was a kind of strength that made one despair. Just like the Luo Shui gang in the past, there were a total of 48 blood transformation martial scholars. They were awe-inspiring, but a single longevity martial scholar killed his way into their headquarters and wiped out all 48 blood transformation martial scholars. At this moment, the blood transformation martial scholars of the Demon Hunters Guild deeply felt the despair and suffocation of the Luo Shui gang. Run! Run! Wu Zhenyuan, who hadn't completely breathed his last, looked at the many experts of the Demon Hunters Guild who were completely slaughtered and spat out 3 words with difficulty. These 3 words completely woke up the dumbfounded Wu Ju, Mu Zhenjin, Xian Yu, and the others. Run! Run! In the face of an awakening martial scholar who still had combat power, the only thing they had to do was to run for their lives, the faster the better. At this time, everyone thought of the words Tsing Hui said at the beginning. Between the Demon Hunters Guild and me, the real expert is not your Demon Hunters Guild, but me. At that time, they had sneered at this sentence, thinking that it was just Tsing Hui's arrogant words that did not know the immensity of heaven and earth. But now, they truly understood that everything Tsing Hui said was not false at all. It was just that they had been blinded by the false strength of the Demon Hunters Guild over the years, so they could not judge the situation clearly. When faced with a real top expert, they were directly defeated by the other party with a crushing force. Only then did they suddenly wake up. Woke up, but it was too late. Whoosh! Relying on his strength, Xian Yu took the lead to rush out. Before he could step out of the gate of the outer courtyard of the Divine Armament Building, a fierce aura had already completely enveloped him. He only had time to see a sword light coming at him from the corner of his eyes, and then he felt something strange in his throat. The next moment, dark red blood spurted out from the vital part of his throat. Ugh! Xian Yu covered the vital part of his throat, as if he wanted to stop the blood from flowing out of his throat. Unfortunately, how could his hand stop the blood from flowing out? In the end, his whole body was completely swallowed by darkness and coldness. Did I say you could go? At the same time, Tsing Hui's figure appeared at the gate of the outer courtyard, stopping Mu Zhenjin, Wu Ju, and the others who were planning to escape. At this time, only a dozen of the 40 or so blood transformation realm experts of the Demon Hunters Guild had been killed. The remaining dozen or so were all scared out of their wits. Their faces were filled with panic, and their hands and feet were slightly trembling. They did not dare to act rashly anymore. Looking at the dozen or so blood transformation realm experts of the Demon Hunters Guild behind them, and then looking at Tsing Hui in front of them, who seemed to be in a better and better state, Wu Ju and Mu Zhenjin finally fell to the ground in despair, their legs weak and their faces pale. Defeated. The Demon Hunters Guild of the Lorraine Kingdom was completely defeated by one person with one sword. A crushing defeat. Chapter 37. Are you satisfied with this result? Xing Hui stood at the door and glanced at the corpses in the courtyard. His gaze then swept over Wu Hunyuan, Wu Ju, Mu Zhenjin, and the dozen or so surviving grandmasters of blood transformation. Wu Hunyuan's eyes were full of regret. If they had known that Xing Hui had such strength, they wouldn't have dared to come to the Divine Armament Building to denounce him and bring disaster to the Demon Hunters Union. But now, it was too late. The strong are respected. I have nothing to say. I only hope, Qi. Xing Hui's figure flashed and his sword pierced through Wu Hunyuan's throat. If you have nothing to say, then don't say it. Wu Hunyuan's eyes widened. The words he was about to say were suddenly stuck in his throat and he couldn't spit out half a word. In the end, he breathed his last, "Father." Wu Ju let out a sorrowful roar. The pillar in his spiritual world suddenly collapsed, and an unprecedented fear filled his soul. Dead. His father, the president of the Demon Hunters Union, Wu Hunyuan, was dead. Without Wu Hunyuan and his identity as the son of the president of the Demon Hunters Union, what was he, Wu Ju, worth? Qi. Xing Hui pulled out the sharp sword from Wu Hunyuan's throat and looked at the others. At this moment, the Grandmasters of Blood Transformation and Viscera Refinement elites of the Demon Hunters Union were all silent. Where was the arrogance they had before? Even the two siblings, Nangong Yu and Nangong Ting, felt their hands and feet go cold. They stood still and didn't dare to move, for fear of angering this fierce god in front of them and bringing disaster to Hunyuan. Wu Hunyuan. He was a terrifying existence who had awakened the bloodline of a spiritual beast. Even their father, Master Hunyuan, wasn't sure he could defeat him. Now, such a big shot who was on an equal footing with their father was killed by Xing Hui with a single sword strike. This scene shocked the two of them so much that they almost turned around and fled. Mu Zhenjin noticed Xing Hui's gaze and couldn't help but shiver. She opened her mouth but didn't know what to say. After a while, she said with difficulty, "Prince Xing Hui, my father is the president of the Demon Hunters Union of the Sacred Ocean Kingdom. I can't kill you." Xing Hui's gaze fell on Mu Zhenjin. The Saint Sea Kingdom was a neighbor of the Lorraine Kingdom. It was also one of the 24 countries under the Hunyuan Heaven sect. It was slightly stronger than the Lorraine Kingdom, but not by much. No, Mu Zhenjin's face was filled with fear and humiliation. She lowered her head, not daring to meet Xing Hui's eyes. "I hope that Prince Xing Hui will give me a chance for my father's sake, give me a chance to redeem myself. I am willing to pay 500,000 gold to beg Prince Xing Hui for forgiveness. I am also willing to take out money to atone for my sins." Wu Ju, who was standing at the side, trembled as he spoke. "There's nothing wrong with what you did to protect your sister's face. However, how cruel is this kind of indiscriminate killing? Before the war, Xian Long once said that where it's possible to spare people, one should spare them. All of you disdain these words. Then, at this very moment, what qualifications do all of you have to ask for forgiveness in front of me?" As soon as Xing Hui finished speaking, Wu Ju and Mu Zhenjin's faces turned ghastly pale. Qi. Mu Zhenjin's throat was directly pierced through by a sharp sword. Blood spurted onto Wu Ju's face, causing him to immediately cry out in fear. "Don't kill me, I beg you, don't kill me." Wu Ju no longer cared about his image as he begged miserably. "You're very lucky." Qing Su said, "It's because of you that I truly understand the laws of survival in this world. As a result, I'll give you 1,000,000 gold coins and sever an arm, and you can live. Compared to me being defeated and falling into your hands, your fate is already many times better." I understand." Wu Ju's eyes were filled with joy, as if he had just escaped death. The next moment, he clenched his teeth and fiercely pointed at his left hand. Crack! Accompanied by the sound of bones shattering, his left hand drooped down. His face was drenched in sweat from the pain. "We will definitely deliver it to you on time within 3 days. Don't do the same thing thrice." I hope you won't make the same mistake a third time. We won't, we won't. We won't dare to do it again. Everyone, break one of your arms. Tsing Hui once again glanced at the other members of the Demon Hunters Union and said indifferently. For a moment, from the blood-changing grandmasters to the viscera-refining experts, all revealed bitter expressions, but no one dared to disobey. The 30 or so corpses of grandmasters in the courtyard were the fate of those who disobeyed. In less than a breath's time, the sound of bones shattering could be heard incessantly, echoing outside the building. Looking at these arrogant and domineering elites of the Demon Hunters Guild who had just arrived, one by one, being forced to cut off their arms in order to survive, Xian Long and Yu Shanshan immediately felt proud and elated. One by one, they stood up straight and stared at the miserable crowd. Just a moment ago, these elites of the Demon Hunters Union were still pointing fingers in front of them. But now, President Wu Hunyuan, First Captain Xian Yu, and the daughter of the President of the Demon Hunters Union of the Holy Ocean Kingdom, Mu Zhenjin, were dead. Only 11 of the blood-changing grandmasters who had killed their way into the Divine Armament Tower were still alive. How awe-inspiring and domineering was this person to beat the Demon Hunters Union of the Lorraine Kingdom into submission. For the first time, Xian Long felt that following such a master was not a bad thing. The strong were respected. Prince Tsing Hui is actually so tyrannical. He's only at the blood-changing realm. I wonder what kind of opportunity he had, Yu Shanshan muttered to herself as she watched Cho Tsing Hui subdue a Demon Hunters Union branch by himself. She only felt that this Prince Tsing Hui was full of mysteries. Thinking back to her previous indifferent attitude towards Tsing Hui, her heart was suddenly filled with worry. Prince Tsing Hui was so outstanding. Once he entered the Hunyuan Heaven sect, he would definitely become the left and right arms of the young Mississippi. At that time, if he was dissatisfied with her performance these days, her days would be very difficult. When Nangong Yu and Nangong Ting saw the people from the Demon Hunters Union leave one after another, the two of them suddenly felt uneasy. After hesitating for a while, Nangong Yu stepped forward and carefully bowed to Tsing Hui. Prince Tsing Hui, our Yuan had no choice but to make such a decision. The Demon Hunters Union is very powerful, and my father is not in Yuan. Us juniors simply do not dare to disobey. Tsing Hui ignored Nangong Yu, who was carefully apologizing. He turned to Xian Long and said, "How much profit has the Divine Armament Building turned over to Yuan over the years?" Xian Long seemed to know what Tsing Hui wanted to do. He sneered, "No less than 1 million gold. Since Yuan is unable to fulfill her obligations, then spit out all the profits you took from Yuan. 1 million gold, not a single gold less. If you can't make the decision, then go ask your father, the owner of Yuan. Or, you can try. Yuan can't afford to offend the Demon Hunters Union branch in the Lorraine Kingdom, but can they afford to offend me?" 1 million gold, a trace of anger appeared on Nangong Ting's face. Just as he was about to say something, he was pulled back by Nangong Yu. Prince Tsing Hui must be joking. Prince Tsing Hui is a peerless figure who single-handedly suppressed the Demon Hunters Union in the Lorraine Kingdom. How can our Yuan dare to offend you? 1 million gold, I'll go prepare it now. Prince Tsing Hui, please give us some time. 3 days. Yes. Nangong Yu responded and bowed gracefully. We'll raise the money immediately. We'll take our leave first. After speaking, she hurriedly pulled the indignant Nangong Ting out of the Divine Armament Building's outer courtyard. Prince Tsing Hui, you gave them 3 days, but Senior Sister Rant's flying boat will arrive in the afternoon. At that time, you'll have to go to the Hunyuan Heaven sect. How will you collect the debt? Yu Shanshan hesitated. When did I say I was going to the Hunyuan Heaven sect? You're not going to the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Yu Shanshan was slightly taken aback. But Miss Shui Yunqing and Miss Nailan Fei are both in the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Prince Tsing Hui already has such a rich accumulation in the blood transformation stage. Once he goes to the Hunyuan Heaven sect, He only needs to consolidate for a few days and pass the Hunyuan Heaven Sex assessment. He will immediately be bestowed with a top true art. If he makes contributions, he will even be bestowed with a saint technique. At that time, he will awaken his bloodline and step into the immortal stage. Nalan Fei is only a true disciple and doesn't occupy a peak. The resources in her hands are limited. In addition, she needs to cultivate. Cultivating one person is already the limit. Let her cultivate Shui Yunqing. I can cultivate by myself. You don't have to worry about this. If it was in the past, Miss would be at a critical stage in her cultivation. But the last time I contacted Miss, I learned that Miss has finally taken that critical step. It said that she was received by the sect master and was rewarded with many treasures. It won't be difficult to cultivate one more person. She took that crucial step. Did she break through in her cultivation? Yu Shanshan nodded vigorously, with a sense of honor. However, Tsing Hui still shook his head. I've made up my mind. That's it. I'll go back and report to Mississippi. When the time comes, Miss will send someone in Miss Yunqing to personally take you away. Chapter 38. The royal capital of Lorraine had a population of 1 million, and there were countless forces entrenched in the royal capital. However, there were only a few that could truly be called the upper forces. The royal family was naturally the largest force. Below them, the 4 most promising candidates for the throne, the eldest prince, the 3rd prince, and the 12th prince were also part of the upper forces. Behind them were the other princes and princesses, the Demon Hunters Association, the Yin Garden, the Hunyuan Pavilion, the Cloud Forest House, and the metal element of heaven and earth. Therefore, such a big change in the Demon Hunters Association, the death of President Hunyuan, and the death of more than 40 blood transformation grandmasters, swept through the entire royal capital like a storm. For the first time, the name Chou Tsing Hui was known by the people of the royal capital. Especially when everyone thought that Tsing Hui would take the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's flying boat to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect after severely damaging the Demon Hunters Association. Unexpectedly, he stayed in the royal capital and did not leave. For a time, the Divine Armament Building, which had not yet moved out of the Yin Garden, gradually became lively. Father, do we need to visit them? At this time, inside the Yin Garden, on a walkway not far from the Divine Armament Building, Nangong Ting's face was full of resentment. He's just a villain who's intoxicated by success. He doesn't even know what kind of mistake he has made. Do you think the Demon Hunters Association's money is so easy to take? The Demon Hunters Association's branch of the Lorraine Kingdom is only one of the 9 branches of the Demon Hunters Association. There is only one powerhouse in the association, but in the headquarters, there are as many powerhouses as there are clouds. The number of awakening stage powerhouses is in the double digits, especially the president. Not only is he omnipotent, but his cultivation is also unbelievably tyrannical. It is said that he has already stepped into the 2nd level of the immortality stage. Once the Demon Hunters Association gets angry, they will send powerhouses to kill the chicken to warn the monkey. Only death will await Chou Tsing Hui. If we go there now, people will think that the Yin Garden is afraid of Chou Tsing Hui. What do you know? He glared at Nangong Ting and said, the Lorraine branch has the support of the headquarters, but Chou Tsing Hui also has someone behind him. Moreover, it is the talented true disciple Nalan Fei. Now that he has shown excellent talent, Nalan Fei will definitely bring him to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect to be her right-hand man. This Nalan Fei is not only extremely powerful, but the Nalan family is also a famous cultivation family. In their most glorious days, 2 great elders were born in the family. Even if their momentum is not as strong as before, there are still many powerhouses in the family. If the Demon Hunters Association really dares to be aggressive, Nalan Fei will definitely not ignore it. When the time comes, even if someone from the headquarters comes, they won't be able to do anything to Nalan Fei. The headquarters president of the Demon Hunters Association has eyes and eyes everywhere. He has a close relationship with an important figure in the Hunyuan heaven sect. Every year, the Demon Hunters Association's profits are handed over to that important figure in exchange for his protection. I'm afraid it won't be easy for Nalan Fei to make a move. If something goes wrong, the matter will escalate to a game between the upper echelons. Nan Gongyu was also somewhat puzzled. A game between the upper echelons is no longer something that we, Hunyuan, can interfere in. Hunyuan can be considered a faction in the Lorraine Kingdom, but in the Hunyuan Heaven sect, what are the 24 kingdoms? Even in the Lorraine Kingdom, there are princes and grand dukes. Right now, we're just going to pay a visit and make friends. No matter what the result is, there's no harm. It's better to squash enmity than to keep it alive. Nan Gonglai sighed. Hearing this, Nan Gongyu understood something. Hunyuan could not afford to offend the Demon Hunters Association's headquarters, nor could she afford to offend Nalan Fei. The only thing she could do was to please both sides and not offend either. After realizing this, Nan Gongyu felt a little distressed. In the eyes of ordinary people, Hunyuan seemed to have limitless glory and attracted the envy of many wealthy merchants and nobles. However, in the eyes of the true top factions, the little Hunyuan was not worth mentioning. The three of them soon arrived outside the Divine Armament Building. At this moment, there were 4 people kneeling outside the Divine Armament Building, kowtowing and begging for forgiveness. Beside them, there were more than 10 trembling people accompanying them. Nan Gongting glanced at them and recognized their identities. Aren't they the Black Flame Duke, the Assistant Minister of the Ministry of Rights, and the Assistant Minister of the Ministry of War, as well as their young masters and young mistresses? Why? The conflict between the Demon Hunters Association and Xing Hui was actually caused by Gang Lai, Feng Xiu, and the others. Now that they know that Xing Hui defeated the Demon Hunters Association's Lorraine Kingdom branch, they're probably afraid and have come to kowtow and beg for forgiveness, said Nan Gongyu. Nan Gongyu said. At this moment, the Black Flame Duke and the others also saw Nan Gong Lai and the others. They immediately stepped forward and bowed respectfully. Garden Master Nan Gong. Garden Master Nan Gong, are you going to pay a visit to Prince Xing Hui? I wonder if you can put in a good word for me in front of Prince Xing Hui. Lai Gang, Feng Xiu, Ning Hua, Ning Xian, and the others, who were kneeling on the ground, were so ashamed that they wished there was a hole in the ground for them to crawl into. If they could turn back time, they would never dare to provoke Xing Hui even if they were given 10,000 guts. Unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Everyone, our in garden also has some small conflicts with Prince Xing Hui. We can't even take care of ourselves. How can we care about other things? Nan Gong Lai sighed, not daring to agree. Garden Master Nan Gong is the first guest in the residence of His Highness the 10th Prince. Even if he doesn't give you face, Prince Xing Hui definitely won't dare to slight Garden Master Nan Gong for the sake of the 10th Prince. As long as Garden Master Nan Gong can help us get through this disaster, we'll be eternally grateful. The Black Flame Duke stepped forward and bowed deeply with a sincere expression. It's just a small matter. You don't have to make it so troublesome. At this moment, a voice came from the corner of the courtyard not far away. Immediately after, an elegant man with a feather fan and a silk headband strode over, surrounded by 2 beautiful women. Sword Rain Scholar. Nan Gong Lai, the Black Flame Duke, and the others exclaimed at the same time when they saw this handsome man. Sword Rain Scholar was one of the top 3 guest elders in the residence of the 3rd Prince. In the royal family, the 1st Prince, the 3rd Prince, and the 12th Prince were the most qualified to vie for the supreme throne. The power they possessed far surpassed that of the other princes and princesses. For example, Nan Gong Lai's cultivation was slightly inferior to Wu Hunyuan's, but he could become the first guest elder in the residence of the 10th Prince. If he were to go to the residence of the 3rd Prince, he wouldn't even be in the top 3, let alone the first guest elder. Now that Sword Rain Scholar had appeared here, it was obvious that he was here for Tsing Hui. "Greetings, Mr. Sword Rain." The Black Flame Duke and the others hurriedly bowed with a respectful expression, not daring to be negligent at all. They knew that Sword Rain Scholar cared a lot about his reputation. Once someone humiliated him, he would definitely take revenge by any means necessary. "All right, get up. As nobles and officials of the kingdom, it's inappropriate for you to kneel here." Sword Rain Scholar waved his hand as he looked at the few people who were acting respectfully. "But Prince Tsing Hui. Isn't my appearance here enough to prove something? Cho Tsing Hui will soon become the subordinate of the third prince. By then, he and I will both be working for the third prince. It's nothing for me to forgive you guys for such a small matter." The Black Flame Duke, the assistant minister from the Ministry of Rights, and the assistant minister from the Ministry of War looked at each other and immediately stood up. They thanked Sword Rain Scholar profusely. "Thank you, Mr. Sword Rain. We will definitely follow the third prince's lead in the future. Alright, it's good that you guys know what you are doing. I'll go and invite Cho Tsing Hui now. He can't even protect himself now. The Devil Hunter Union has learned about the incident in Lorraine and is furious. They will definitely not let this go. Fortunately, the third prince thinks highly of him and is willing to give him the status of an upper guest to protect him. I don't think he will miss this opportunity. From now on, you guys will be on the same side." Sword Rain Scholar laughed and glanced at Nangong Lai. When his gaze landed on Nangong Yu, his eyes lit up. "Nangong Lai, you have a good daughter. With such beauty, why don't you give your daughter to me? I'll put in a good word for you to the third prince. Who knows, the third prince might be willing to give you the status of an upper guest. Working for the third prince is better than being half dead under the 10th prince." "Sword Rain Scholar, you must be joking. Since I'm working for the 10th prince, I'll naturally be cautious and conscientious. I'm going to visit Prince Tsing Hui, so I won't talk much with you. I'll take my leave first," Nangong Lai said, and quickly led Nangong Yu and Nangong Ting into the courtyard of the Divine Armament Building. Chapter 39. In the guest hall of the Divine Armament Building, Xian Long was sitting on the lower side and carefully serving the guest. On the guest seat, there was a lady wearing a sky blue dress with a classical temperament. She was holding a teacup and sipping on it. Her actions were filled with a pleasing elegance. Behind her, there were two maids standing silently at the side, waiting for orders. "Princess Hunyuan, Prince Tsing Hui is currently cultivating and is not in a good condition to receive guests. Why don't you come another day? There's no hurry. I will wait here for Prince Tsing Hui. I am a lady and don't have any duties. It is fine for me to stay in the Divine Armament Building for a while." The lady named Hunyuan smiled gently. "Don't tell me Building Master Xian doesn't welcome me. I wouldn't dare. Princess Hunyuan's presence brings light to the Divine Armament Building. How could we not welcome you?" Xian Long felt helpless. "Mister, our building master is currently receiving an important guest. Please wait for a moment." Just then, Qin Hong's anxious voice came from outside the building. It was accompanied by the footsteps of a group of people. "Important guest? What kind of important guest can be compared to me, Mr. Sword Rain? I want to see." The voice outside the door was filled with dissatisfaction. Not long later, a group of people appeared in the guest hall. The leader was Sword Rain Scholar. As soon as he stepped into the reception hall, Rainstorm Scholar's gaze immediately fell on Princess Hunyuan, who was wearing a sky blue dress. He laughed. "I was wondering who it was. So it's Princess Hunyuan. Why? Is the 12th prince behind Princess Hunyuan interested in recruiting Zhuo Qingshu? Building master, they forced their way in. We couldn't stop them." Qin Hong came to Xian Long's side and whispered. "It's not your fault. You can leave." Xian Long looked at Sword Rain Scholar and instantly felt a headache. He was someone that the Divine Armament Building couldn't afford to offend. I am only here to visit Prince Tsinghui. Princess Hunyuan obviously didn't have a good impression of Sword Rain Scholar. Her expression was cold. Sword Rain Scholar didn't mind and turned his gaze to Xian Long, where is Cho Tsinghui? I'm here on behalf of His Highness the Third Prince. Why isn't he coming out to greet me? This Prince Tsinghui is in the middle of cultivation. For the time being, he can't, how dare you? Sword Rain Scholar pointed at Xian Long and said sternly, do you know that Cho Tsinghui is about to face a great calamity? Only our third prince can save him. Right now, I'm representing the third prince to save his life. As his subordinate, you don't call him out and instead use all kinds of excuses. What are your intentions? Are you trying to kill your master? Send a message to him immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing a traitorous slave like you. You, seeing how overbearing Sword Rain Scholar was, Xian Long was enraged. However, after considering Rain Sword Scholar's tyrannical strength and the third prince behind him, he could only suppress his anger. He said in a low voice, our young master is really in closed-door cultivation. He said that he won't receive any visitors during his closed-door cultivation, bastard. Before Xian Long could finish speaking, Sword Rain Scholar had already shouted and struck out with his palm at an unimaginable speed. Xian Long might be the tower master of the Divine Armament Tower and could be considered one of the best in the blood-changing realm, but when faced with an attack from an awakening realm expert like Sword Rain Scholar, he could not resist at all. He was sent flying and vomited blood. He crashed heavily into the wall and was injured on the spot. Tower Master. Sir, Qing Hong could not help but cry out when she saw Sword Rain Scholar actually daring to attack. She quickly went to Xian Long's side. Xian Long's face turned pale. His qi and blood were in chaos. He looked at Sword Rain Scholar with eyes full of anger. How dare you, unruly slave! I've already said that I'm here to save your master's life. However, you're obstructing me in every possible way. Could it be that you've secretly killed your master? No, I have to see Cho Tsinghui with my own eyes. I don't want him to be killed by you, unruly slave. While speaking, Sword Rain Scholar ignored Xian Long and quickly headed to the inner courtyard. Quickly inform Prince Tsinghui. Xian Long quickly said to Qing Hong. As for himself, he quickly followed Sword Rain Scholar but did not dare to stop him. Behind him, the graceful and elegant Qing region lord also followed and frowned. The spiritual imprint of a spirit and qi unification realm expert is really extraordinary. I wonder how strong a real spirit and qi unification realm expert is. Tsinghui slowly put down the rank 3 high-grade divine armament in his hand. However, I've already cultivated sword intent and my spiritual force has reached rank 34. According to my estimation, I'm not weaker than a spirit refining realm expert of longevity realm 3. To deal with the spiritual imprint of a spirit refining realm expert who died many years ago, I reckon that I'll need another 2 to 3 days to completely erase it. At that time, I'll be able to control this rank 3 divine armament. With the advantage of the divine armament, I'll be able to fight against a spirit refining realm expert of longevity realm 2. The amplification effect of divine armaments on cultivators is extremely significant. A level 1 divine weapon corresponded to the first level of the immortality realm. It could allow an expert of the first level of the immortality realm to unleash his or her attacks perfectly. If an expert of the first level of the immortality realm wielded a level 1 divine weapon, it could increase his or her attacks by 2 levels. If an expert of the first level of the immortality realm wielded a level 2 divine weapon, it would be able to increase his or her attacks by 3, 4, or even 5 levels. If his or her blood, qi, zhen qi, and battle skills were completely compatible with the divine weapon, it could increase his or her attacks by 6, 8, or even 10 levels. Similar to the rank 3 high-grade divine armament in Tsinghui's hand, the amplification effect can reach 8 to 16 ranks. Although Tsing Hui has yet to step into the longevity realm, he already has the strength of a longevity realm expert. This rank 3 high-grade divine armament in his hand can increase his attack by at least 8 ranks. As long as the two are slightly compatible, it can unleash an amplification effect of rank 9, rank 10, or even rank 11 or 12. After looking at it for a moment, Tsing Hui put down the sword and picked up the Tai sword again. The Tai sword is a peerless sword. Although it has yet to be ranked, it is definitely one of the top swords in the level of treasured swords. The sword intent contained in the sword body adds a touch of mystery to the sword. The refined edge sword had already been damaged in the confrontation with Hunyuan, and he was temporarily unable to use the rank 3 divine weapon. He couldn't keep Xian Long's divine weapon, so he focused his gaze on the greater one sword and activated the advancement technique, Buzz Buzz. Flowing light circulated. Under the extremely profound and mysterious power of the technique of advancement, the Great One sword immediately underwent a tremendous change. Not only did the sword become more compatible with Qing Su's arm length and fingers, but its toughness and heaviness from before had also changed to sharpness and lightness. What surprised Tsing Hui even more was that the sword intent contained in the sword was actually reversed under the mysterious effect of the advancement technique. It was brilliant and vast, like a hidden scorching sun, perfectly compatible with the sword intent contained in the Dongyang Sword Classic. A divine armament upgraded by the advancement technique is as compatible with the owner of the advancement technique as possible. Tsing Hui held the Tai sword, and a feeling of connection with it surged in his heart. Since the Tai sword itself is a peerless sword, now that it has been upgraded to rank 1, it is also a high-rank rank 1 sword. Coupled with the fact that it is completely compatible with Tsing Hui, it is enough to increase Tsing Hui's attack by 3 ranks. This is also because his strength is close to the middle stage of the awakening realm. If he only has the strength of the awakening realm, the Tai sword's attack increase will definitely reach the maximum value of rank 4. Prince Tsing Hui, not good. Just when Tsing Hui planned to try the mysteries of the Tai sword after the advancement technique, Qing Hong's anxious voice came from outside the door. His Highness the Third Prince's guest, Sword Rain Scholar, is here. He forced to see you despite Master Xian's obstruction and even injured her. He is now coming to the place where you are cultivating in seclusion. Chapter 40. When Tsing Hui suppressed the Demon Hunters Union 6 days ago, he expected that there would be all kinds of visits. Therefore, he rejected them all with the excuse of cultivation. Those forces were also tactful. After understanding that Tsing Hui did not want to see them, they left their gifts and left. But this Sword Rain Scholar, how dare he barge in? Tsing Hui opened the door and saw a group of people striding into the courtyard. The person in the lead was Sword Rain Scholar. Sword Rain Scholar. Cultivation Realm, Awakening Realm. Attack Level, 14, Defense Level, 13, Speed Level, 14, Spirit Level, 12. These values were already considered to be in the middle stage of the awakening realm. Even Wu Hunyuan was inferior to him. You're Cho Tsing Hui. Very well, I'm here to save your life. If you don't want to die in the Demon Hunters Union's revenge, join the Third Prince's mansion. The Third Prince's mansion has many powerhouses, including several awakening realm powerhouses. His mother, noble consort Rueda, is the daughter of the Myriad Swords Mountain sect master. She has the support of a large sect, the Myriad Swords Mountain. As long as you join the Third Prince's mansion and work for the Third Prince, I can guarantee that the Demon Hunters Union will never dare to act presumptuously in the Lorraine Kingdom again. Sword Rain Scholar looked at Tsing Hui, who walked out of the room, and immediately waved his hand. On the other hand, Princess Hunyuan and Garden Master Yuan, who came with him, only bowed slightly to Tsing Hui and did not say anything. Obviously, they also wanted to see how Tsing Hui would deal with Sword Rain Scholar's coercion. However, Tsing Hui obviously did not pay attention to Sword Rain Scholar. Instead, His gaze fell on Xian Long, who still had a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. He injured you? Mr. Sword Rain wishes to meet you, and I tried to stop him, but I wasn't able to do so in time. That's why I taught this slave a lesson for you. You don't have to thank me for such a small matter. Oh, by the way, I've also asked the Black Flame Duke and his men to leave. The Black Flame Duke is also a duke. If he defers to the third prince, he will be of some help. Since we're going to work together, you have to think more about the third prince. Xian Long said bitterly. Swish. Before Sword Rain Scholar could finish his words, Xing Hui attacked. The Great One sword brought about a dazzling sword light that was like the sun rising from the east. In that instant, it filled up the void space before Sword Rain Scholar. Impudent. Seeing that Xing Hui actually dared to attack him, Sword Rain Scholar was enraged. The sharp sword in his hand pierced out explosively. The sharpness of the sword soared into the sky and turned into waves of cold light that shot out. It caused Xian Long, Nangong Lai, Regent Princess Qing Yuan, and the others to continuously retreat. Cho Xing Hui, I came to save your life out of goodwill, and you actually dared to attack me. You really don't know what's good for you. I told His Highness the Third Prince that he shouldn't waste time on you. Instead of trying to rope you in, why not accept the bounty of the Demon Hunters Association's divine weapon and capture you and bring you to the Demon Hunters Association? That way, he would be able to receive the bounty and become friends with the Demon Hunters Association. This is also the reason why I came in and didn't want to talk nonsense with you. Now that you dared to attack, it's exactly what I wanted. Accompanied by Sword Rain Scholar's sharp howl, the two swords instantly collided into one. Bang! Gold and iron collided, and sparks burst out. The sharpness of the two divine weapons shot out through the swords, attacking each other's muscles and veins. It made Xing Hui feel as if his entire arm had been pierced through by the sword. With such pain, a regular awakening expert would definitely feel their arm go numb. Even if they could attack again, their agility would definitely be affected. However, Qing Su had a second-stage recovery ability, and his talent in swordsmanship had also reached the second stage. With a slight tremble of his arm, he actually stabbed down again despite his right hand being affected. The sharp edge of his sword was like a shooting star, arriving before Sword Rain Scholar in an instant. You have some tricks, but not enough. Storm Sword, Gale. Sword Rain Scholar felt the shocking sharpness of Xing Hui's sword and his expression suddenly changed. In the next moment, his sword speed suddenly changed. Even though his arm was numb, he actually stabbed out 14 sword shadows in one breath, completely blocking Xing Hui's attack. Sword Art, Moon Rush. Boom! The sword light was vast and mighty. The 14 sword shadows that Sword Rain Scholar had stabbed out in one breath shattered the moment they collided with Xing Hui's sword light. With Shifeng's Tier 2 swordsmanship talent, the so-called 14 sword images were no longer a secret to him. Moving as fast as lightning, Shifeng's soaring moon heavily struck the center of Rain Scholar's sword images. The sharpness of Shifeng's sword penetrated Rain Scholar's body, causing blood to spurt out of his palm. He even lost his grip on his sword. Not good. I can't block it. At the crucial moment, Sword Rain Scholar tapped his feet and his body became as light as a falling leaf. He did not give Xing Hui any chance to expand his attack. Using the power of the Moon Rush, he retreated rapidly. In the blink of an eye, the distance between the two of them had increased to 30 meters. The movement technique that Sword Rain Scholar displayed at that moment made Xian Long, who had yet to reach Awakening Realm, feel dizzy. This speed. If he used it to deal with us blood-changing grandmasters, I'm afraid we would be dead before we could even see his figure. Xian Long was sweating profusely. Even Nangong Lai's pupils shrank. With Sword Rain Scholar's current strength, it would not be difficult to defeat him. Even if the 3 Awakening Realm experts from the 10th Prince's residence worked together, they might not be able to defeat Sword Rain Scholar. If Sword Rain Scholar was already so powerful, then how powerful would the other two upper honored guests be? Not to mention the third prince's chief honored guest. For a moment, Nangong Li's confidence in the 10th prince's ability to compete for the throne was shaken. On the other hand, Princess Qing Luan's eyes flashed as she looked at Xing Hui. She seemed to be surprised by his current strength. Damn it! I studied the battle between you and Wu Hunyuan. Although you defeated Wu Hunyuan, it was an extremely dangerous victory. Even if you're stronger than Wu Hunyuan, there's a limit to it. How can you defeat me? Sword Rain Scholar was forced into a disadvantageous position, and his expression was unsightly. However, Xing Hui did not intend to stop there. With a turn of his sword light, he became one with his sword and stabbed toward Sword Rain Scholar again. Compared to Wu Hunyuan, Sword Rain Scholar was indeed slightly stronger. However, Wu Hunyuan was a master of the way of the fist, skilled in close combat, while Sword Rain Scholar was a master of the way of the sword, skilled in swordsmanship. It just so happened that Qing Su had a talent for the second level of the way of the sword, and he was an expert who had comprehended sword intent, so it was much easier for him to deal with a master of the sword than a master of the fist. Sword Rain Scholar did not see any flaws in Sword Rain Scholar's attack. It seemed that no matter where he dodged, he would have to face a thunderous attack. He had no choice but to raise his sword to block again. Bang! Flames flickered. Relying on his speed, Rainstorm Scholar once again widened the distance between them before Zhuo Qingshu could give chase. He shouted coldly, "Zhuo Qingshu, I came here to recruit you out of goodwill on behalf of His Highness the Third Prince to save your life. It's fine if you don't appreciate my kindness, but you actually dared to attack me. How audacious of you. I'll report this to the Third Prince right now. When the Demon Hunters Association comes for revenge, His Highness will have to stay out of it. You can just wait to die under their vengeance." As soon as he finished speaking, his body suddenly leaped up and rapidly changed positions in the air. He was actually planning to run away. "You want to leave after injuring my men? Do you have my permission? Stay." Qing Su bellowed out, and the force beneath his feet erupted, shooting out like an arrow. All of his vital energies erupted in the air, condensing into a dazzling sword intent on the tip of the Great One sword. He stabbed out viciously, and immediately, it was as if a sun had appeared in the sky, illuminating the world with its brilliance. Chapter 41. Clearly, there was only Xing Hui's resplendent sword gleam in the air, but in the eyes of ordinary people, it was like the scorching sun in the sky, shining brilliantly. Especially Sword Rain Scholar, who bore the brunt of the attack. He was like snow exposed to the scorching sun as he let out a miserable shriek. Sword intent. Sword intent. This is sword intent. Swish. The sword intent was brilliant. Following Xing Hui's figure that moved unhindered, Sword Rain Scholar, who was injured by the sword intent, did not have time to react at all. His right hand that was holding the sword had already been chopped off. Chi. Dark red blood splattered in the air, filled with mournful and tragic grief. My hand. My hand, Sword Rain Scholar, who fell to the ground, held his arm. His eyes were filled with pain and resentment. Meanwhile, Princess Qing Luan and Garden Master in Garden gasped and they saw Sword Rain Scholar's arm that was chopped off from his shoulder. Sword Rain Scholar was one of the famous upper guest elders of the Third Prince's residence. With the Rainstorm Sword, he could move unhindered in the royal capital. He rarely had opponents in the immortality realm. Just by himself, he probably had the ability to destroy the entire Dragon Chant Island. If all the experts in the royal capital were to be ranked, Sword Rain Scholar would definitely be ranked in the top 30. However, such a powerful Awakening Realm expert had fallen in the Divine Armament building today. A swordsman with his right arm chopped off probably had less than 60% of his strength left. Cho Xing Hui, you. You actually dared to chop off my arm. I will definitely not let you off. His Highness the Third Prince will definitely not let you off either. Sword Rain Scholar looked at Xing Hui with eyes filled with resentment. Xing Hui frowned. In the next moment, his figure moved again. A sword streaked across the sky. The sharp sword gleam that carried the suffocating aura of death brazenly attacked. Sword Rain Scholar was shocked. He never thought that Xing Hui would dare to kill him after cutting off one of his arms. With a loud roar, he pushed his speed to the limit and flew out of the Divine Armament Tower. However, after losing an arm, he lost his balance to a certain degree. Moreover, Qin Su had struck out with his sword as well, stabbing out with great speed. Even when Jian Yushu tried to dodge the attack by tumbling about madly in the air, he was still unable to avoid being pierced by the sword. When he landed on the ground again, the pain in his waist affected his strength, causing him to tumble about on the ground. No, stop, don't. Sword Rain Scholar, who was rolling on the ground, felt a great pain in his heart. However, before he could even scream, Xing Hui's sword light had already reached him again. He was so frightened that he screamed out loud. Unfortunately, Xing Hui turned a blind eye to his screams. Swish! The Great One sword was like a bolt of lightning as it pierced into Sword Rain Scholar's throat. Sword Rain Scholar's screams came to an abrupt end. You, swish! Xing Hui pulled out his sword and retreated. Dark red blood spurted out from the wound on Sword Rain Scholar's throat, splattering all over the ground. Even in death, Sword Rain Scholar's face was still filled with disbelief. He never thought that Xing Hui would actually dare to kill him. He completely ignored his status as an upper honored guest of the Third Prince's residence and killed him. Hiss! Seeing Xing Hui shake his sword and shake off the blood on the sword, Princess Hunyuan and Garden Master in Garden both gasped. He actually killed him. Does he not fear the Third Prince's power at all? Princess Hunyuan muttered to herself. Nangong Lai, on the other hand, shuddered. This Cho Xing Hui, he was truly a madman. He did not care about the severity of the situation and dared to kill anyone. Sword Rain Scholar was an upper honored guest of the Third Prince's residence. He was ordered by the Third Prince to invite him into the residence. However, not only did he turn a blind eye to Sword Rain Scholar's invitation, he even killed him. Where was the Third Prince's face? Even if the Third Prince was unwilling to go against Xing Hui, he had no choice but to do something to protect his reputation. Otherwise, who would dare to work for him? Thinking about how the Third Prince's estate was obviously a bit more powerful than the 12th Prince's, Princess Hunyuan hesitated for a moment and could only sigh. Young Master Qin Su, you've made a huge mistake this time. It's one thing to chop off his arm, but of all things, you shouldn't have killed him. Killing him and crippling him are two completely different attitudes. Now, even if the Third Prince isn't willing to deal with you, he has no choice but to act to protect his reputation. Since he already said that he won't let me go, why should I give him a way out? Wait for him to seek revenge. Xing Hui said softly. Young Master. I think we should go to the Hunyuan Heaven sect as soon as possible. If we go to the Hunyuan Heaven sect and become its disciples, even if the Third Prince has great power in the Lorraine Kingdom, he won't be able to interfere with the internal affairs of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. No need. Xing Hui shook his head. Mr. Qin Su, I think you should leave the Imperial City as soon as possible. The Demon Hunter Union has limited power in the Lorraine Kingdom. Even if they really want to take revenge on you, they won't be able to gather enough manpower in such a short time. However, the Third Prince is different. The Third Prince has 8 honorable dignitaries in his residence, and each of them is a level 1 Awakening Realm Immortal. Among them, there are 3 honorable dignitaries, and the Sword Rain Scholar is one of them. In addition, the Third Prince also has a chief honorable dignitaries in his residence, and this honorable dignitaries is the eldest disciple of the Myriad Swords Mountain. His cultivation base is extremely high, and it is said that he has reached the peak of the Awakening Realm. As long as he can comprehend the transformation between reality and illusion, he will be able to cultivate his true qi and step into the second level of the immortal realm. Such a person is well known in the imperial city. The peak of the awakening stage, Xing Hui estimated that the awakening stage's total value had reached the 19th level. 10,000 Swords Mountain, Sword Dao Sect. He didn't know if he could rely on his rank 2 Sword Dao talent and sword intent to fight against the third prince. All in all, Prince Xing Hui, be careful. Blue Phoenix sighed as she said this. She originally wanted to recruit Xing Hui for the 12th prince, but Xing Hui killed Sword Rain Scholar, forcing the third prince to deal with him. If the 12th prince really wanted to protect Xing Hui, he would undoubtedly fall out with him. To the 12th prince, this was obviously not the time yet. Prince Xing Hui, Blue Phoenix will take her leave first. Princess Qin Luan bowed slightly. Wait a moment, do you have any information from the Demon Hunters Union? Princess Blue Phoenix was slightly startled. Prince Xing Hui, what you really need to consider now is how to deal with the third prince's anger. However, if Prince Xing Hui needs it, I'll get someone to send you the information and movements of the Demon Hunters Union later. Thank you. Xing Hui said, then turned to Xian Long and said, help me send Princess Blue Phoenix off. Princess, please. Xian Long respectfully gestured with his hand. As Xian Long and Princess Blue Phoenix left, Nangong Lai, Nangong Yu, Nangong Ting, and the others immediately felt awkward in the courtyard. Especially Nangong Lai. He originally thought that he should curry favor with both Xing Hui and the Demon Hunters Union, but in the blink of an eye, Xing Hui had actually offended the third prince. Under such circumstances, if he still dared to get close to Xing Hui, wouldn't that be courting death? Xing Hui didn't pay attention to Nangong Lai and directly walked towards his own room. The spiritual imprint on Goldenlight Wanderer's rank 3 divine weapon, under normal circumstances, it would take 2 or 3 days to erase, but that was under the circumstances of tempering the sword intent, cultivating the sky rock unhindered technique, and adjusting the body's vital energy and blood. If he disregarded everything and used all his essence, energy, and spirit to attack with sword intent, one night, enough. Chapter 42. Bang! In the third prince's study, a precious vase worth thousands of gold was smashed to pieces. The third prince, Luo Tianying, who had always carried a graceful and noble aura, was now filled with rage. This is simply outrageous. This Cho Xing Hui did not put me in his eyes at all. Not only did he not accept my invitation to work for me, he even dared to kill my people and humiliate me. Does he really think that he can ride on my head and behave atrociously just because he suppressed a Demon Hunters Union branch? The third prince, Luo Tianying, was accompanied by 3 figures. 2 of these people had extraordinary cultivations with a single glance. They carried an unfathomable aura. They were the other 2 upper guests of the residence, Griffin King, Zhua Feng and Flame Devil, Tu Wandi. As for the other person, she looked to be in her 20s and was dressed rather flirtatiously. This woman's cultivation aura was only in the viscera refining realm, but Vulture Wang Zhua Feng and Flame Devil Tu Wandi looked at her with a trace of fear. It was obvious that she had a background that surpassed them, the awakening realm experts. Third brother, your attitude towards Cho Xing Hui has been wavering. You wanted to capture Cho Xing Hui and offer him to the Demon Hunters Union, but you also wanted to recruit him for your own use. After Rain Sword Scholar understood your attitude, he naturally did not treat this child with all his heart. I heard that when he entered the Divine Armament Tower, he was arrogant and despotic. He tried to use pressure to force Cho Xing Hui to submit. In the end, he caused Cho Xing Hui to counterattack and kill him. Luo Tianying looked at her with dissatisfaction. Sister Shuang, what are you talking about? Rain Sword Scholar went to recruit him on my behalf. Naturally, he has to show the prestige of my residence. Moreover, Rain Sword Scholar is right. The people of the Demon Hunters Union are indeed preparing for revenge. If no one comes to save him, when the experts of the Demon Hunters Union arrive, only death will await him. It seems like Third Brother is more interested in the Demon Hunters Union because the Demon Hunters Union has promised to recommend Third Brother to become the president of the Lorraine Kingdom's Demon Hunters Union. Since Third Brother has already made up his mind, why don't we just capture him directly? Why do we have to send Sword Rain Scholar over? The woman saw through Luo Tianying's true thoughts. Humph, I just saw that he was a promising talent and wanted to give him a hand. Since he doesn't know what's good for him, he can't blame me. Suofeng, Tu Wandi, you two go personally. If he is willing to obediently surrender, then that's fine. If he dares to resist, then kill him. Since we're going to make a move, we have to make sure nothing goes wrong. We have to do it beautifully. Zhuo Qingshu was able to kill Sword Rain Scholar, so his cultivation shouldn't be underestimated. Suofeng and Tu Wandi can defeat him, but it won't be easy to capture or kill him. If he escapes, he'll be a disaster for you, Third Brother. Luo Tianying pondered for a moment and nodded. Sister Shuang is right. I think we have to ask Senior Brother Wan Jianxian to act personally. That's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. Zhuo Qingshu was able to suppress the Lorraine Kingdom's branch of the Demon Hunters Union and kill Sword Rain Scholar all by himself. His strength is not to be underestimated. Killing him will be enough to show the strength of our residents. The first prince and the 12th prince have been quite restless recently. The 12th prince is still alright, as he knows his place. However, the first prince, relying on his righteous position, has been very active, causing many officials in the imperial court to have second thoughts. This time, we can let Senior Brother Wan, the left honorary advisor, and honorary advisor 2 strike together and kill Zhuo Qingshu with a thunderous force. This will not only deter the first prince and the 12th prince, but also show the world who is the true chosen one. Suofeng frowned and said, will this matter attract the attention of the true disciple behind Chou Tsinghui, Nalan Fei? Since the Demon Hunters Association dares to take action, they will naturally take care of these matters properly. There is an elder behind the Demon Hunters Association. If Nalan Feiroa dares to intervene in this matter, it will damage that elder's face. Luo Tianying finished and looked deeply at Suofeng. Chou Tsinghui's potential is not bad, but why am I biased towards the Demon Hunters Union? My relationship with the president of the Demon Hunters Union is deeper than you think. Suofeng was slightly startled and quickly cupped his hands. Your Highness is wise. Suofeng, go keep an eye on Chou Tsinghui and don't let him escape. Tu Wandi, spread the news. In 3 days, I want every corner of the Lorraine Kingdom to know that we are going to put Chou Tsinghui on trial. When I invite Senior Brother Wan, the 3 of you go straight to the Divine Armament Tower and let everyone in the Lorraine Kingdom know the consequences of going against me, the third prince. Why 3 days? 3 days. We want to see if there are any small fries who will jump out and save Chou Tsinghui. This will give your Highness a legitimate reason to attack those small fries. Luo Shuang said lightly. The small fries she was talking about were naturally the eldest prince and the 12th prince. Your Highness is wise. Suofeng and Tu Wandi both shouted at the same time. In the Lorraine Kingdom, the eldest prince was righteous and supported by the officials. The 12th prince was quite virtuous and had a high reputation among the people. As for the third prince, he was the strongest because he had the support of the 10,000 Swords Mountain. As the third prince deliberately spread the news that the third prince would deal with Chou Tsinghui in 3 days spread throughout the Lorraine Kingdom. Chou Tsinghui had destroyed the Demon Hunters Union not long ago, killing dozens of blood transformation experts and the president of the Demon Hunters Union. This had caused a huge uproar in the Lorraine Kingdom. Before this wave passed, the news of him killing Sword Rain Scholar spread. Less than 4 hours later, the news of the third prince's residence spread, pushing the topic to the peak. For a moment, almost everyone in the Lorraine Kingdom looked at the Divine Armament Tower that had yet to move out of the Yin Garden, waiting for the tower's response. What a pity. This Cho Tsing Hui had the ability to kill Sword Rain's scholar without even stepping into the awakening realm, but he offended the third prince. In the 12th prince's residence, the 12th prince, Luo Hunyuan, was regretful. Your Highness, are you not going to do anything? If you save Cho Tsing Hui, not only will you gain the favor of this young hero, but you will also have a chance to establish a relationship with the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's true disciple, Nailan Fei. Princess Qin Luan also felt sorry for Tsing Hui. The Hunyuan Heaven Sect's Nailan Fei, their relationship is too distant. Also, Cho Tsing Hui has a relationship with the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, but the Demon Hunters Union does too. My foundation can't be compared to Big Brother and Third Brother. I want to help, but I can't. When Princess Qin Luan heard this, she also fell silent. Your Highness First Prince, this is our chance. Several guests of the First Prince's residence gathered together to argue about Cho Tsing Hui. The chief guest, Sword Venerable Lu Yu, seemed to attach great importance to Tsing Hui. In terms of background, the Demon Hunters Union is naturally better than Cho Tsing Hui, but the Demon Hunters Union's background is not good enough, and the true disciple behind Cho Tsing Hui doesn't have such scruples. We may be able to save this person and recruit him for our own use. However, the first Prince Luo Tiancheng shook his head. I know this person. He is too cruel and doesn't know the severity of the matter. Not to mention whether he will be grateful to us for saving him and enter our residence. Even if he does enter our residence, this kind of troublemaking temperament will bring us endless trouble. Let's drop this matter. But Your Highness, it said that Sword Rain's scholar shouted "Sword will" before he died. It's very likely that Zhuo Qingshu has fully comprehended the sword will. A cultivator who has fully comprehended the sword will have a bright future. Does Sword Rain's scholar know what sword intent is? Rumors can't be trusted. Besides, Third Brother has made this matter known to everyone. It is hard to say whether he is waiting for us to take the initiative to jump out and fight him. Our advantage is that we have the general momentum and reputation. If we compete in strength, we will only be using our weakness to attack his strength. It will only add to the losses. Let's leave it at that. The entire Lorraine kingdom was in turmoil because of Tsing Hui, but in Tsing Hui's courtyard in the Divine Armament Building, it was calm. However, under the calm surface, no one knew what kind of stormy waves were brewing. Chapter 43. Bang! 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 Young master, young master. Sounds came from outside Tsing Hui's cultivation room. Tsing Hui, who was resting, opened his eyes. 16 hours. Tsing Hui looked at the rank 3 divine weapon in his hand. The time it took to erase the Golden Light Wanderer's spiritual brand was shorter than he had imagined. Less than a day. It should be around 10 in the morning of the second day. He had already grasped the rank 3 divine weapon at 6 in the morning. The reason why he hadn't left was because he was recuperating from the Golden Light Wanderer's spiritual brand. And now, it was about time. Come in. Tsing Hui said. Young master, I deserve to die for disturbing your cultivation. But young master, we really can't stay in the Luo Lin royal capital any longer. Otherwise, all of us will face a disaster. We should leave the Luo Lin royal capital as soon as possible. Xian Long immediately knelt on the ground and begged as soon as he entered the room. Oh, is there movement from the third prince's side? The third prince has already said that in 2 days, he will send the 10,000 Swords Mountain's senior brother Wan Jianxian, High Guest Elders Wafeng, and High Guest Elder Tu Wanbi to our divine weapon building to take revenge for Sword Rain Scholar. 2 more days. Tsing Hui frowned. He was still waiting for the third prince to come and settle this matter as soon as possible. Xian Long was startled. He didn't know what his young master meant. Tsing Hui's main purpose in coming to the Luo Lin royal capital was to buy a suitable sword. Now that this mission was completed, it was time to leave the Luo Lin royal capital. As for the third prince's accusation that had caused a great uproar, why should he care? Young master, we should immediately leave the Luo Lin royal capital and head to the Hunyuan Heaven sect to seek refuge with Miss Nalan Fei. With Miss Nalan Fei's protection, we will be safe. Tsing Hui shook his head. So what if he went to the Hunyuan Heaven sect? For the time being, the Hunyuan Heaven sect would not pass on the true black hole art to him. According to his understanding, different bloodlines had different growth potentials. Although he could also consume the blood essence of saint beasts or god beasts to enhance his bloodline, he would have to pay 10 times or even 100 times the price. Tsing Hui only had 10 years, and he could not afford to delay. Could it be that we have to go to the third prince's residence to apologize and reconcile with the third prince? If we do that, it would be equivalent to putting our lives in the hands of the third prince. If the third prince refuses to forgive us regarding the matter regarding Sword Rain Scholar, we would be walking right into his trap. Pack your things and get ready to leave. When Xin Long heard this, he quickly nodded, right. Let's talk about it after we leave the Lorraine Kingdom. Every day we stay in the Lorraine Kingdom increases the danger. As for the things, this subordinate has already packed them. Packed? I remember that there are quite a number of divine weapons in the divine armament tower. Right now, we are fleeing for our lives. How can we care about those things? Bringing valuables is already the limit. No need. Bring everything you need. I'll give you half a day to bring everything you need. But once we show any signs of leaving the royal capital, the third prince's residence will definitely surround us. Tsing Hui shook his head and did not say anything. Instead, he raised the stage 3 divine weapon in his hand. This sword has been reborn in my hands, but it's still your spoils of war from Wanderer Golden Light. Give it a name. Xin Long was a little surprised to see Tsing Hui take out the divine weapon. Immediately after, he seemed to have thought of something. Disbelief shot out from his eyes as he said with ecstasy, "Young master, you said that this sword has been reborn in your hands. Could it be?" Tsing Hui gripped the sword and shook it. In the next moment, sword chi shot out from the sword, tearing a meter long and a foot deep crack in the ground. Sword chi. Xin Long's eyes widened. Sword chi that could only be shot out by someone at the second level of the immortality realm. A stage 3 divine weapon is indeed a stage 3 divine weapon. It's a pity that I don't know the changes in the realm of true chi, so I can't perfectly grasp the mysteries contained in this divine weapon. Tsing Hui said. Seeing Tsing Hui use the power of the divine weapon to shoot out sword chi, Xin Long no longer had any doubts. His body couldn't help but tremble with excitement. I can't believe that young master only used 10 days to completely erase the spiritual imprint on this stage 3 divine weapon. I thought that young master would need at least 1 or 2 years. Good, this is great. Now we are saved. With this sword, young master will have no opponents in the awakening realm. As long as the elders in the royal family don't interfere, young master will be able to do whatever he wants in the entire Lorraine Kingdom. Give it a name. Tsing Hui said. Young master, seeing that Tsing Hui was willing to give him the right to name such a divine weapon, Xin Long was touched. If he had been filled with resentment when he was forced to sign the primal chaos oath with Qing Su, then after witnessing Qing Su single-handedly subduing the entire union of demon hunters, he had actually gained a sliver of trust in Qingshu after countless years of upholding the principle of respect for the strong. His trust had increased by another level. This sword originally belonged to Golden Light Cultivator. Now that it has fallen into young master's hands, young master, with this sword, the Monster Hunter Union and the third prince will be like chickens and pottery dogs, not worth mentioning. Young master's soaring momentum will definitely be unstoppable. Why don't we call it Green Heaven Sword? Green Heaven. Green as in the blue sky, the sky that soars into the sky. Green Heaven. Good, from now on, this sword will be called Green Heaven. Tsing Hui nodded. Go and prepare. If the third prince's people dare to stop us, I will let them know the benefits of green heaven. Yes. Xian Long replied confidently and quickly went to do as he was told. A third-level superior divine weapon could increase a blood-changing realm expert's attack by 9 to 18 levels. Even for Xing Hui, who had just entered the first level of the immortality realm, it could at least increase an attack by 8 to 16 levels. The so-called 8th level increase was the lowest limit. Usually, it referred to divine weapons that a swordsman used that were completely incompatible with his own skills, such as sabers, spears, and hammers. The divine weapon in Xing Hui's hands was a divine sword. Although Xing Hui could not unleash its full power, it was definitely not the lowest limit of the increase. At least the 10th level. It could even be the 11th or 12th level. It was because he understood this that Xian Long had such confidence in Xing Hui. The divine weapon tower began to pack up, as if they were planning to leave the Lorraine kingdom. This immediately attracted the attention of Zhuo Feng, who was monitoring the divine weapon tower. Weren't you extremely arrogant when you killed Sword Rain Scholar? Now you're scared and want to leave the kingdom? Dream on. Moreover, it's fine if you want to leave the kingdom, but you're actually greedy enough to want to pack up the precious goods in the divine weapon tower. You're simply courting death. Do you really think that the third prince will just watch you leave and not send anyone to chase after you? Zhuo Feng sent the news to the third prince's residence while he sneered and allowed the people in the divine weapon tower to pack up. So what if they defeated a branch of the Demon Hunters Union? Since they dared to go against the third prince, they would soon understand what true despair was. Chapter 44. Half a day quickly passed. Xian Long packed up the divine armament building's valuables and filled 2 carriages. However, at this moment, there were only 6 members of the divine armament tower left on both sides of the carriage, including Qin Hong, who had always been loyal to Xian Long and seemed to have feelings for him. The rest of the people had already fled when the third prince spread the news that he planned to deal with the divine armament tower. Young master, everything is ready. We can set off at any time. Then let's go. Once you're out of the city, we'll split up. Your destination is the Eastern Cloud Empire, the strongest country under the Hunyuan Heaven sect. I want you to reopen the divine armament building there. Xing Hui glanced at Xian Long. You're too weak. Try to awaken your bloodline on the way to the Eastern Cloud Empire. Yes. Xian Long's eyes dimmed. Without the Tai sword, he had no hope of awakening his bloodline. Breaking through to the awakening realm was indeed the best choice. Moreover, the Eastern Cloud Empire was one of the 3 empires under the Hunyuan Heaven sect's rule. The imperial capital was at the foot of the Hunyuan Heaven sect's mountain, and the royal family was unbelievably powerful. It was said that the patriarch of the royal family had cultivated Gang Qi and stepped into the 3rd tier of the immortality realm. To build the divine armament building in a country stronger than the Lorraine kingdom, a blood transformation realm cultivation was clearly lacking. Don't be depressed. You cultivate the heavenly Peng unhindered art. Even if you unfortunately awaken a spirit beast bloodline, it will definitely be a top-notch one. Once awakened, you'll probably be as strong as Hunyuan. If you perform well, I may be able to obtain heavenly Peng blood essence for you in the future and help you advance further on the path of bloodline. Xian Long's spirits rose when he heard Xing Hui's promise. Xing Hui was a son of chaos, and from the fact that the Tai sword had suddenly transformed from a top-grade sword to a top-grade sword, it was very likely that he was a son of chaos above the 5th tier who had learned the advancement technique. A son of chaos above the 5th tier, wielding a 3rd tier divine armament, and comprehending sword intent would definitely have accomplishments beyond his imagination. There was hope that he could obtain heavenly Peng blood essence in the future. Yes, please rest assured, young master. This subordinate will do his best. The main reason I want you to go to the Eastern Cloud Empire is to find a way to collect the Divine Codex. If there's news of the Divine Codex, you must inform me as soon as possible. Godly Codex. Xin Long's pupils shrank. Who would have thought that his young master would be so ambitious to awaken the divine beast bloodline? Everyone, where are you going? Just as everyone was ready to set off, Sua Feng, who had been secretly monitoring them, suddenly appeared outside the divine armament tower. Accompanying him were Tu Wandi and two other guests in the awakening realm, Su Jiuying and Hua Bo. Since Wan Jianxian had yet to arrive, the third prince, Luo Tianying, had sent two more guests as reinforcements. As the three awakening realm elites appeared at the same time, Tsing Hui sensed several pairs of eyes looking in their direction through the tall buildings surrounding Yuan. These gazes, those who could make Tsing Hui feel something, were all important figures in the awakening realm. In fact, this was indeed the case. In the tallest restaurant in Yuan, the owner of Yuan, Nangong Lai's family, the 10th Prince Luo Jianglu, the 12th Prince Luo Huchuan, the Princess of Qingluan, and even the 1st Prince Luo Tiancheng and Chief Guest Lu Yu, who thought that Tsing Hui was too unruly, were there. In addition to them, there were also representatives sent by other first-rate forces in King's City. On this floor, there were more than 5 awakening realm elites gathered. It seems that the third prince is finally going to make a move. He sent 4 awakening realm elites at once. What a big move. Let's take this opportunity to see how much power the third prince has in his hands. I just don't know if this Cho Tsing Hui can test the third prince's trump card. Your Highness, it's not too late for us to save Cho Tsing Hui now. I've made up my mind. There's no need to say more. The 12th prince on the side said regretfully, if Big Brother is willing to save Cho Tsing Hui, he might still have a chance to live. But now, with the third brother's forces moving, he will definitely die. Since 12th brother loves talent so much, why not do it yourself? The 12th Prince Luo Huchuan smiled bitterly, Big Brother, you know that I don't have many capable people under my command. How can they be a match for the third brother? If I let them go down rashly, it will only add to the losses. That's not necessarily true. 12th brother has gathered countless experts among the common people. God knows if there are any top figures among them. I think, among us brothers, you are the one who hides the deepest. Even the third prince is not as good as you. Luo Huchuan quickly waved his hand, Big Brother, you must be joking. How can I compare to Big Brother and the third brother? Luo Tiancheng shook his head and was about to say something, but at this moment, a guard suddenly said, His Highness the third prince is here. Wan Jianxian is with him. What? Wan Jianxian was actually persuaded by the third prince. I remember that Wan Jianxian usually only acts when the third prince is in real danger. It's obvious that the third prince wants to bully others. Why would he intervene? Since when did the third prince and Wan Jianxian have such a good relationship? Luo Tiancheng exclaimed. Luo Jianglu, Luo Huchuan, Princess Qingluan, Nangong Lai, and the others all looked at the guard. The guard did not dare to neglect and quickly explained, it is said that Wan Jianxian came for Cho Tsing Hui. His Highness the third prince persuaded Wan Jianxian with the reason that Cho Tsing Hui had comprehended the sword essence. Comprehended the sword essence? Luo Tiancheng was a little surprised, did Cho Tsing Hui really comprehend the sword essence? Princess Qingluan pondered for a moment and said, we were there before Sword Rain Scholar died. At that time, he did shout the word sword essence. However, I am not a swordsman, so I can't tell. Garden Master Nangong is an awakening realm expert. Can you tell if Cho Tsing Hui used the sword essence when he defeated Sword Rain Scholar? The intent of the martial path is extremely wondrous. It's said that it's a prerequisite for cultivating supreme qi. Only with the intent of the martial path as a foundation can one collect true qi and refine qi into supreme qi. I've never seen such power before, so I can't tell whether Qing Su used sword intent or not. Nangong Lai shook his head. Since the cultivation of martial path intent is so difficult, I think Cho Tsing Hui can't master it. I guess the spirit beast created by the visualization of the method he cultivates is more proficient in soul attacks. That's why Sword Rain Scholar mistook it for the Sword Rain Scholar. Luo Tiancheng waved his hand. Whether it is or not, we will know when we continue watching. Big Brother is right. It would be a pity if he was still killed by the third prince after comprehending the sword essence. Who can be blamed? Chou Tsinghui is so ignorant. Even if he doesn't die in the third prince's hands, he will sooner or later die because he offends an enemy he can't afford to offend. It's just a matter of time. That's true. In the outer courtyard of the Divine Armament Tower, Zhuo Feng and the others appeared. Tsing Hui's gaze naturally fell on him. I don't want to be enemies with the third prince. Sword Rain Scholar is so aggressive and courting death. If the third prince really doesn't let it go, don't blame me for being merciless. I will kill as many people as he sends. Impudent. Zhuo Feng's eyes sharpened. Chou Tsinghui, do you really think you are invincible? How dare you boast so shamelessly? If I want to leave, will you stop me? It's not that I want to stop you. Zhuo Feng sneered, it is young Master Thousand Swords who intends to deal with you personally. Before that, you should stay here obediently, wash your neck clean, and wait for young Master Thousand Swords to come. To be able to die under young Master Thousand Swords' 10,000 Swords art, you can be considered to have died a worthy death. So, you still want to stop me? Tsing Hui stepped forward and unsheathed the green firmament sword in his hand. Those who stop me will die. Chapter 45. How dare you take the initiative to attack? Do you really think I'm a fool like Sword Rain Scholar? Tu Wandi, Hua Bo, Jiuying Su, attack together and suppress him. Let's wait for young Master Wan Jian to come and take his life. Seeing that Tsing Hui actually took the initiative to draw his sword, Zhuo Feng shouted and attacked. He awakened the griffin bloodline, which also belonged to the category of spirit beasts. When he pounced, his momentum was majestic, and it even stirred up the wind and clouds outside the Divine Armament building. With Sword Rain Scholar's example, Tu Wandi, Hua Bo, and Jiuying Su would not take it lightly and quickly attacked. Tu Wandi was known as the Flame Demon, and his awakened spirit beast was named Flame. It was a kind of spirit beast with the bloodline of the ancient divine bird, Bai Fang. With this bloodline, not only did he attack with blazing waves, but he also had a speed far beyond the awakening realm. The remaining two, Hua Bo and Su Jiuying, were slightly inferior. They had only awakened ordinary beasts. However, with their cultivation in the awakening realm, their attacks were still earth-shattering. If they were to fight against ordinary blood-changing grandmasters, dozens of them would be easily defeated by the two of them. Prince Tsing Hui, be careful. Seeing the power of the four awakening realm powerhouses, Qing Hong, who did not know Tsing Hui's true ability, could not help but scream. But soon, her scream came to an abrupt end and was replaced by disbelief. What a pity. On the tall building of the Ying Garden, Luo Huchuan could not help but sigh again. And Princess Qing Luan turned her head to the side, as if she could not bear to see Tsing Hui's miserable appearance. Who can be blamed? You can only blame Chou Tsing Hui for not knowing the current situation. Luo Tiancheng shook his head. After all, he's too young. In order to survive, what's the harm in kneeling and begging for mercy? If he could bear it at that time, Lu Yu's eyes were also full of regret. But soon, the unbearable, regretful, and long sigh in their eyes seemed to be suddenly frozen on the spot. Sword Chi. Sword Chi. Swish. As Tsing Hui leaped forward and unsheathed his sword, a dense sword aura erupted from the green cloud sword. It was as if it had turned into a tornado of sword aura. In an instant, it had reached the encirclement of the four awakening realm elites. Zhuo Feng, who was the first to bear the brunt of the attack, had a claw that could destroy gold and crack stone. The airflow in the void seemed to explode from his claw, but when it collided with the sword chi of the green firmament sword, it was instantly defeated. His entire palm was twisted into a bloody mist, and a shrill scream suddenly sounded. Swish! The sword chi of the green cloud sword didn't stop at all as it crushed Zhuo Feng's palm. With a violent shake, the sword chi turned around and headed straight for Tu Wandi, Hua Bo, and Su Jiuying, who were approaching with surging heat. With a sweep of the sword chi rustled. Under the burst of sword light, Tu Wandi, who was charging over, no matter if he was wearing a pair of gloves or claws, or his right hand that was holding a ranked divine sword or battle saber, all of them were shattered by the sword light. Bursts of sword chi shot out in all directions, instantly cutting several wounds on the bodies of the three people, causing blood to spurt out everywhere. Ah! What kind of sword is this? A high-level divine weapon. A high-level divine weapon. He's holding a high-level divine weapon. At the same time, shrill screams came from the mouths of the several Awakening Realm experts who were besieging Zhuo Feng. The sword chi contained in the green cloud sword pressed forward, sweeping in all directions. Even the aftermath of the sword chi made their hair stand on end. Their tempered bodies were like pieces of tofu in front of the sword chi of such a high-level divine weapon. Everything would be shattered. The sharpness of a high-level divine weapon is not something we can resist at all. Retreat. Retreat quickly. This is not fair. All kinds of shouts came from the mouths of several Awakening Realm experts. Swish. On the other hand, the first prince, the 10th prince, the 12th prince, and the garden master Nangong Lai, the princess of Green Phoenix, the sword venerable Liu Yu, and the others who were following them were all shocked. One by one, they rushed to the railings of the building and stared at the high-level divine weapon in Xing Hui's hand, their eyes wide open. A divine weapon. A high-level divine weapon. Level 3. This is at least a level 3 divine weapon. A divine sword that has reached the 3rd level. In the entire Lorraine kingdom, only the royal family has a level 3 divine weapon as the most precious treasure of the kingdom. Now, Cho Tsinghui actually has a level 3 divine weapon. Damn it. He actually has such a treasure in his hands. A level 3 divine weapon, and it's a divine sword that suits him as a swordsman. This is definitely enough to increase his combat strength to the 2nd level of the Awakening Realm. At this moment, whether it was the rather arrogant first Prince Luo Tiancheng or the regretful 12th Prince Luo Hechuan, they were all shocked. A level 3 divine weapon. For countries like the Lorraine Kingdom, it was an existence that could suppress the fate of a country. If any Awakening Realm expert had a level 3 divine weapon, they could dominate their peers. If that level 3 divine weapon was tailor-made for them, it would not be an extravagant hope to match the 2nd level of the 6th level of immortality. Now, such a divine weapon had appeared in Cho Tsing Hui's hands. Swish. Sword chi rampaged. Tsing Hui's sword did not stop because of the shock of others. With one sword strike, Tsing Hui severely injured 4 Awakening Realm experts. He did not give them any time to react at all. His figure flew toward Su Jiuying, who was closest to him. Before the person arrived, the sword chi arrived first. Wherever the sword tip went, the sword chi was dense. Just blocking the sword chi from the green cloud sword was enough to make Su Jiuying scream miserably. In an instant, 3 bloody wounds appeared on his body. When Tsing Hui arrived in front of him, the sword chi contained in the green cloud sword had already pierced 4 bloody holes in his body. No. Swish. As the sword tip flashed, the green cloud sword cut through Su Jiuying's throat, and then, the sword chi dissipated, and a head flew into the void with dark red blood dripping from it. Buzz. Buzz. The sword shook, and not a single drop of blood was stained. Then, the sword tip turned sharply and once again stabbed towards Tu Wandi. Ah! Ah! Stop! Stop for me! Tu Wandi, who had always been fearless, could not help but scream. His figure quickly retreated, trying to avoid the sword chi. But it was no use. He could not block it at all. The sword chi soared into the sky. Tsing Hui's figure moved horizontally and horizontally. The green cloud sword danced and a sword chi shot out, cutting Tu Wandi in half from a meter away. No matter how powerful Tu Wandi was, in front of such a fierce sword chi, there was no room for him to use. After killing 2 Awakening Realm experts in a row, his figure suddenly turned and pierced through the void like a meteor piercing the moon. Boom! Hua Bo, who had already escaped from Tsing Hui's attack range, suddenly froze in horror. The sharp sword chi penetrated his back, pierced his heart, and shot out, taking away his life. Afterwards, Qing Su stomped off the ground again and rose into the air. He swung his sword and retreated as quickly as possible. Zhuo Feng, who had already left the outer courtyard, cried out miserably as his legs were severed. No! 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 Zhuo Feng, who had fallen to the ground, did not have time to scream and beg for mercy. Tsing Hui's sword flew towards him. Although Zhuo Feng was still 6 meters away, the sword chi on the green cloud sword had already activated on its own. Accompanied by a cold light, a bloody hole appeared between Zhuo Feng's eyebrows. The sword chi pierced through his head and shot into the ground behind his head, leaving a sword mark. 4 Awakening Realm experts were dead. Chapter 46. Hiss. Seeing the 4 honorable guests of the 3rd prince's residence, including 2 upper honorable guests who had cultivated to the middle stage of the Awakening Realm, were killed by Tsing Hui in less than 10 breaths with the power of the divine sword, everyone on the roof of the Ying Garden building gasped. Dead, the 4 honorable guests are all dead. A 3rd stage divine weapon, this is the power of a 3rd stage divine weapon. A 3rd stage divine weapon has actually reached the level where it can stimulate Gang Qi. If it is used by an expert of the 2nd level of the Immortality Realm, the Gang Qi burst out and the power is more terrifying than a simple sword Qi. Why would it need a 2nd sword to kill a cultivator of the 1st level of the Awakening Realm? It's simply a sword Qi that disdains everything. A 3rd stage divine weapon is already so terrifying. It is said that when a divine weapon reaches the 4th stage, as long as its compatibility with the user reaches the peak, it can be integrated into the genuine Qi. I really don't know how powerful a divine weapon of that level will be. Nangong Lai, Liu Yu, and the others trembled in their hearts. In front of such a top divine weapon, their cultivation that they were proud of was like a chicken or a pottery dog, unable to withstand a single blow. It was no wonder that every time a high-level divine weapon appeared, it was easy to set off a bloody storm, and countless top experts would risk their lives to snatch it. Those high-level divine weapons had the qualifications to make them risk everything. Opportunity. Opportunity. Chou Tsing Hui must have obtained a great opportunity. It is said that Chou Tsing Hui's cultivation was only in the marrow cleansing realm half a year ago, but now, without revealing his divine weapon, his combat power is not weaker than that of the Awakening Realm. He must have obtained a great opportunity. It is precisely because of this opportunity that he can grow from the marrow cleansing realm to this level in just half a year. A 3rd stage divine weapon, if I can use this 3rd stage divine weapon, and with my cultivation of the top spiritual beast bloodline awakened, who in the entire royal family can be my opponent except for a few patriarchs? When the time comes to compete for the throne, who can be compared with me? Luo Tiancheng's heart was full of struggle. Brother, should we immediately report to the patriarchs? If the patriarchs are willing to help and ask for the divine weapon of the royal family, we can definitely make Chou Tsing Hui stay. At that time, this 3rd stage divine weapon will be in the Luo family's pocket, and the 2 of us will have made a great contribution. It's useless. If the patriarchs really take this 3rd stage divine weapon, Naylan Fei will definitely not let it go. She will definitely kill our royal family and force us to hand over the weapon. Don't forget, Naylan Fei has a family behind her, this third-stage divine weapon may eventually fall into the hands of a nameless experts, or may fall into the hands of Nalan Fei, or even the Nalan family, but in the end, it will of the family, its will of our family, Luo's. If he had known earlier that Zhuo Qingshu possessed a level 3 magic weapon, he would have protected him first. Then, when Zhuo Qingshu was unprepared, he would have taken the weapon for himself. At that time, it would have been a piece of cake for him to sit on the throne of the Lorraine kingdom. But now, they could only watch helplessly as the level 3 divine weapon slipped out of their hands. But the 10th Prince Luo Jianglu knew that he couldn't win against the 1st Prince, the 3rd Prince, and the 12th Prince, so he was quite open-minded and insisted on watching the show to the end. He smiled and said, Chou Tsinghui has a 3rd-stage divine weapon. This is interesting. I wonder how 3rd brother will deal with Chou Tsinghui who has a 3rd-stage divine weapon. Now that 4 guests have died, and more than half of 3rd brother's experts have died. If one Jianxian also dies in the hands of Chou Tsinghui, then it will be interesting. The moment these words came out, the expressions on the faces of the princes became interesting. Originally, they weren't optimistic about Chou Tsinghui, so they only felt pity for Chou Tsinghui when they came to watch the show. But now, things were different. Chou Tsinghui, who had a 3rd-stage divine weapon, could completely turn the situation around. Not to mention the guests under the 3rd prince, even one Jianxian would die if he came personally. Apart from an immortal 2nd-stage void refinement expert, who could stop Chou Tsinghui who had a 3rd-stage divine weapon. According to what you said, I really can't wait. I just don't know if one Jianxian has the courage to fight against an immortal 2nd-stage swordsman with a 3rd-stage divine weapon. One Jianxian is conceited, but that doesn't mean he's a fool. A 3rd-stage divine weapon can't be stopped by a true Qi realm expert. Unless one Jianxian has reached the true Qi realm and taken that crucial step, he definitely won't have the courage to fight against Chou Tsinghui with a 3rd-stage divine weapon. We will definitely see the 3rd prince make a fool of himself. It's a pity that the 3rd-stage divine weapon can't be used by us. At this moment, everyone's gaze towards Tsinghui became complicated without exception. Especially Princess Hunyuan. She even thought that if she had stood on Tsinghui's side yesterday, would she have been able to pull him into the 12th prince's camp? With the help of such a top figure with a 3rd-stage divine weapon, the 12th prince would be able to suppress the 1st prince and the 3rd prince. If she could persuade Chou Tsinghui to give the 3rd-stage divine weapon to the royal family, this huge contribution would be enough to push the 12th prince to the throne. Unfortunately, at that time, she only thought that Tsinghui would definitely die. She didn't consider this. Now, it was too late for regrets. The divine sword returned to its sheath. The sharp sword aura in the courtyard dissipated. Xian Long, Qing Hong, and the rest, who were originally frightened and almost suffocated by the sword aura, heaved a sigh of relief. Too strong, the 3rd-stage divine weapon is too strong. Just the sword aura from the sword is enough to make any immortal realm expert unrivaled in the same realm. Xian Long looked at the green firmament sword in Tsinghui's hand, his eyes filled with passion. No wonder weapon forgers have such a high status in the cultivation world. Even if it's an immortal realm expert, as long as they can refine a 3rd-stage divine weapon, it's enough to be on the same level as the elders of the 10 great holy lands. With a large amount of 3rd-stage divine weapons, it's easy to destroy a city. Let's go. I believe that no one will dare to stop us now. Tsinghui glanced at the surroundings. Instantly, countless terrified figures fled in all directions as if they were fleeing for their lives. The 3rd prince naturally didn't just send the 4 great guests to keep an eye on him. Other than the 4 great guests, there were also many marrow-cleansing realm, viscera-refining realm, and even blood-changing realm people running errands. Tsinghui was too lazy to chase and kill these people. Yes. Xian Long, who received Tsinghui's order, responded respectfully and immediately waved his hand. Under the respectful gazes of the other viscera-refining and blood-changing realm experts in the Divine Armament Tower, the caravan slowly moved and headed out of the Luo Lin Kingdom. The rest of the journey was just as Tsing Hui had said. It was calm and peaceful. No one came out to stop them. It was as if the vicious words the third prince had said a day ago were just empty words. Under the watchful eyes of many ordinary forces who did not know what had happened in the courtyard of the Divine Armament Tower, the small group of 8 people slowly drove out of the street and out of the city. Chapter 47. The battle at the Divine Armament Tower naturally couldn't be hidden from the true ruler of the Lorraine Kingdom. At this time, in the royal court of the Lorraine Kingdom, the current Emperor Luo Jiuzhou, whose cultivation had reached the late stage of the awakening realm, was holding a piece of information and handing it to the 3 royal ancestors in front of him with a look of surprise. Good news, good news. A rank 3 divine armament has appeared in our Lorraine Kingdom. This is a great opportunity for the Lorraine Kingdom. While the 3 ancestors were flipping through the information, Luo Jiuzhou couldn't wait to ask, Ancestor Yun Xiao, Ancestor Tianming, Ancestor Yoha, this matter can only be solved by the 3 of you. A rank 3 divine armament has appeared in our Lorraine Kingdom. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Even if this person has some background, as long as we do it secretly, we may be able to take this rank 3 divine armament for ourselves. Rank 3 divine armament. The 3 royal ancestors looked at each other and saw the surprise in each other's eyes. Yes, a rank 3 divine armament. Although this Cho Tsing Hui has Nailan Fei behind him, even if she really pursues the matter, our Lorraine royal family may not be afraid of her. Wait, who are you talking about? Nailan Fei. Hunyuan Heaven Sect's true disciple Nailan Fei. Before Luo Jiuzhou finished speaking, he was immediately interrupted by Ancestor Yun Xiao. That's right, it's Nailan Fei. Although Nailan Fei has the Nailan family behind her, the Nailan family's influence is far away in the eastern cloud. It's so far away from our Lorraine Kingdom. As long as we act quickly and muddy the waters without leaving any traces behind, this rank 3 divine weapon will already be in the hands of the Lorraine royal family by the time they react. No. Ancestor Yun Xiao hurriedly said. Damn it, Jiuzhou, your third son actually had a conflict with Cho Tsing Hui. Ancestor Tianming's face was also very ugly after reading the information. Luo Jiuzhou couldn't help but be puzzled by the 2 ancestors' expressions. Yes, what's wrong, ancestors? This Cho Tsing Hui has Nailan Fei behind him. We're in big trouble. Nailan Fei, so what? Although she's a true disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, it's not like we're directly offending her by dealing with Cho Tsing Hui. If she dares to come to our Luo Lin Kingdom and act presumptuously, we might be able to fight back with reason. That's a stage 3 divine weapon we're talking about. Offending a true disciple for a stage 3 divine weapon shouldn't be a big deal, right? Nothing much. There's something you don't know. Patriarch Tianming looked at Luo Jiuzhou with a solemn expression and said in disbelief, 2 days ago, news came from the Hunyuan Heaven Sect that Nailan Fei, who began closed-door cultivation 3 months ago, finally came out 10 days ago. Her cultivation has reached the 3rd stage of the longevity stage, and she was personally received by the Hunyuan Heaven Sect Master and was rewarded with a grade 4 divine weapon. Level 4 divine weapon. Luo Jiuzhou suddenly raised his voice, and his eyes were full of shock. Yes, it's a grade 4 divine weapon. Such a treasure could be used as the most precious treasure of the Nailan family. With this grade 4 divine weapon, even if Nailan Fei had just reached the 3rd stage of the longevity stage, she would have the combat strength of an experienced expert of the Gangqi realm. Ancestor Tianming's words were full of surprises. Moreover, this is nothing. Don't forget one thing. Although Nailan Fei has cultivated to the 3rd level of the longevity realm and condensed her Gangqi, she is only 36 years old. She still has 64 years to go before the 100-year lifespan of a successor disciple. If she can make further progress during this period and become a peak master, Luo Zhozhou's heart trembled violently. A peak master was an invincible figure who could establish a force. If they wanted to, it would be easy for them to establish a kingdom similar to the Lorraine kingdom. Back then, the Luo clan was in such a good position because of the birth of a peak master. However, following the accidental death of that ancestor, the Luo clan had deteriorated with each generation. Until now, they had been completely excluded from the core circle of the Hunyuan heaven sect. Who knew how long they would be able to sit on the throne of the Lorraine kingdom? If they offended a true disciple with limitless potential who even had hopes of becoming a peak master in the future. Thinking of this terrible consequence, Luo Zhozhou trembled all over. Even if Nailan Fei hasn't broken through to the qi cultivation stage and has the support of the Nailan family, we don't dare to offend her easily, let alone now that she has stepped into the third stage of the longevity stage. Nailan Fei values friendship very much. Half a year ago, because of Cho Tsing-hui, she didn't hesitate to fight with an elder until the end. That elder was so embarrassed that he was covered in dirt. It can be seen that she values Cho Tsing-hui a lot. Even if Cho Tsing-hui disappeared without a trace, she still sent her maid to stay in the Lorraine kingdom to search for him day and night. If we really do something to Cho Tsing-hui, it will definitely arouse the wrath of Nailan Fei, the true disciple at the peak of her power. Luo Zhozhou was so shocked by the potential of a strongman of the third order of longevity who was less than 40 years old that he broke out in a cold sweat. His greed for the third-order magic weapon was thrown out of his mind, and he quickly responded, "I will send someone to protect him personally. I will not let him have any accident in our Lorraine kingdom." "No. You can't send someone. Go there yourself." Ancestor Nether River, who had been silent all this time, suddenly said. "What?" Luo Zhozhou was a little confused. However, Ancestor Tian Ming seemed to think of something and suddenly said, "Yes, we have neglected this point. Not only will we be tempted by the third stage magic weapon, but other forces will also not turn a blind eye to it. If we don't take a good attitude, once something happens to Cho Tsing-hui, Nailan Fei will very likely vent her anger on us, especially your third son who has just had a conflict with Cho Tsing-hui. Zhozhou, you have to do this in person. Not only do you have to do it, but you have to do it beautifully. Nailan Fei can't find any fault with it and Cho Tsing-hui will be satisfied. And that third son of yours." Ancestor Yun Shao also said with a trace of coldness in his eyes, "A person who has cultivated qi into gang qi and has a fourth-stage magic weapon is more than enough to destroy the Lorraine royal family. Think about the consequences if something happens to Cho Tsing-hui in the hands of your third son. What is the point of keeping such an ignorant son who wants to destroy the Lorraine royal family? My third son, he has the backing of the 10,000 Swords Mountain." Luo Zhozhou smiled bitterly. "The 10,000 Swords Mountain. Humph. So what if it's the 10,000 Swords Mountain? If he angers Nailan Fei, who is currently at the peak of her power, how difficult would it be for her to destroy the 10,000 Swords Mountain? However, for the sake of the 10,000 Swords Mountain, he can be spared from death, but he can't escape punishment. Deal with him as you see fit. If you can't manage the Lorraine kingdom well, I'll let others do it. Your brothers who are in charge of a region may not be inferior to you in terms of ability." Hearing this, Luo Zhozhou's heart trembled. He hurriedly promised loudly, "Yes, I'll do it right away. I'll definitely give the ancestors a satisfactory explanation." Chapter 48. Haha, he actually admitted defeat. Upstairs, Luo Tiancheng couldn't help but laugh as he watched the third prince indifferently allowing Tsing Hui's group to leave. What else can he do? Does he dare to send Wan Jianxian to deal with Shuo Qingshu? Wan Jianxian is the most treasured disciple of Myriad Swords Peak and has been called the most outstanding figure in the past century. Having such a disciple serving in the third prince's residence is more symbolic than practical. If third brother really dares to send Wang Jianxian to fight Zhuo Qingshu, he can only wait for myriad swords peak to give up their support. Luo Huchuan said with a smile. There's no other way. Who told Chou Tsinghui to have a third-level divine weapon? Princess Qing Luan said with some envy. Third-level divine weapon. If this third-level divine weapon could be mine, 10th Prince Luo Jianglu was moved. However, his extravagant words were interrupted by the first Prince Luo Tiancheng without hesitation. Don't even think about it. With your abilities, you won't be able to protect a level 3 divine weapon. The best outcome is to offer it to father in exchange for a reward. Luo Jiangliu's face was faintly red. Obviously, he was choked by Luo Tiancheng's words. But, Luo Tiancheng was powerful and he didn't really have a third-level divine weapon, so he didn't dare to refute. Luo Huchuan watched Qing Su's figure disappear into the street and muttered to himself, putting aside whether or not Zhuo Qingshu can keep this third-level divine weapon, he was able to fight against the awakening stage of the longevity stage when he was in the blood-changing stage. Moreover, he is suspected to have comprehended sword will. Once he enters the awakening stage, his future will be limitless. What a pity. I couldn't take advantage of the third prince's oppression to help him in his hour of need and befriend him. Princess Qing Luan looked at the regretful Luo Huchuan and whispered, compared to the other princes, we already have a lot of advantages. Young Master Chou Tsinghui wanted the information of the Demon Hunters Union, so I sent it to him early in the morning. It can be considered a good karma. If we have a chance to meet again in the future, with this favor, we won't have no way to meet. Luo Huchuan's eyes lit up when he heard this. Good. Sister Qingluan, you've done well. I'll have to trouble you to follow up on this matter. If Zhuo Qingshu ever returns to the Lorraine Kingdom, we must treat him well. Rest assured brother, I understand. Damn. In a carriage not far from the Yin Garden, the third prince, Luo Tianying, who was originally full of confidence that he could direct a good show to let people see how strong he was now full of anger, unwillingness, and grievance. He had announced that he wanted to deal with Chou Tsinghui in a high-profile manner. He originally wanted to make an example out of Chou Tsinghui, but he didn't expect that in the end, not only did he fail, but he also lost a handful of rice. Not only did he lose face, but he also lost 4 of his 8 guests. Including the Sword Rain scholar who was killed by Tsinghui yesterday, there were 5 of them. The good situation could be said to have been destroyed by Tsinghui alone. If curses could kill, he would have already turned Tsinghui into ashes. Alright, don't be so angry. In the carriage, Wang Jianxian, who was dressed in white and looked very elegant, sat cross-legged. His eyes flashed, this matter may not be completely a bad thing. This is not a bad thing. 5 of my 8 guests died, and almost all of us were wiped out. This is not a bad thing. Not to mention the eldest and the 12th, even the 4th, 6th, and 10th brothers have the right to behave atrociously on my head. Luo Tianying was furious. Calm down. There may be a chance for a turnaround. Zhuo Qingshu should never have revealed the existence of his rank 3 divine weapon. It would have been fine if he had only been using it in secret, but now that we have found out about it, our myriad swords peak will never allow a rank 3 divine weapon to wander about in the outside world. Wang Jianchuan's words stunned Luo Tianying. Then, as if he had thought of something, his eyes lit up, you plan to ask the Grand Elder of the 10,000 Swords Mountain to make a move. That's right. Wang Jianxian nodded and raised his voice a little. My 10,000 Swords Mountain's combined power is actually not much inferior to the Lorraine royal family. However, because the Hunyuan Heaven sect is not related to us and we do not have a sect protecting treasure, we have always been suppressed by the royal family. Now that Chou Tsinghui has a rank 3 divine weapon, this is a heaven-sent opportunity for our 10,000 Swords Mountain. As long as I send the news back to the sect, our Grand Elder will definitely personally take action. When the time comes, won't killing Chou Tsinghui be a piece of cake for us? Luo Tianying immediately grew excited at Wang Jianchuan's words. Yes, yes, yes. With the Grand Elder of the 10,000 Swords Mountain taking action, that little bastard will die even if he has a rank 3 divine weapon. Why aren't you sending a message to the elders? If you're too late, we'll miss out on the rank 3 divine weapon. Wang Jianxian glanced at Luo Tianying. If not for his relationship with the 10,000 Swords Mountain, such an arrogant person would not be worthy of their support. Go now. If they went now, wouldn't they be telling the world that the 10,000 Swords Mountain was behind this? If Naylan Fei and the family behind Naylan Fei pursued the matter, how could the 10,000 Swords Mountain bear the consequences? They had to muddy the waters first before the 10,000 Swords Mountain could make a move. At the very least, they had to use the Lorraine royal family as a shield. Alright, the 10,000 Swords Mountain has its own plans. When Cho Tsing-hui and the rest leave the city, immediately go see your father and tell him that Cho Tsing-hui has a rank 3 divine weapon. This matter has to be carried out openly. There's no need for that. My father has eyes and ears everywhere. I'm afraid that the news of Cho Tsing-hui having a rank 3 divine weapon is already on his desk. If I tell you to go, then go. Do you still want to kill Cho Tsing-hui for revenge? Of course. Luo Tianying frowned. He was quite dissatisfied with Wang Jianchuan's tone. However, considering that the experts in the residence were almost all dead and he still had to rely on Wang Jianchuan's strength, he could only endure it. I'll go see my father in a moment. Wang Jianxian replied. In reality, there was no need for Luo Tianying to openly report that Tsing Hui had a rank 3 divine weapon. As the strongest of the princes, Luo Tianying's every move was closely watched by many people. Naturally, everyone knew that Tsing Hui was related to them. When Tsing Hui relied on his rank 3 divine weapon to kill the 4 awakening experts of the 3rd prince's residence, all the factions in the Lorraine royal capital who thought they had the qualifications to obtain a rank 3 divine weapon were ready to make a move. For a time, a storm cloud slowly gathered after Tsing Hui and his group who had left the Lorraine royal capital. However, just as this storm was about to take shape and completely pounce on Cho Tsing Hui and his group, the emperor of the Lorraine kingdom suddenly moved. The consecrators of the consecration hall came out in full force and instantly took control of the situation in the Lorraine royal capital. As the ruler of the Lorraine kingdom, Luo Jiuzhou immediately led the elites of the palace and rushed straight toward the 3rd prince and his group who were still unwilling to give up. The 3rd prince, who had just separated from Wang Jianxian and had not even had time to breathe, was directly surrounded by the palace guards led by Luo Jiuzhou. Father, what are you doing? Luo Tianying, who was restrained by 2 awakening realm experts, instinctively felt that something was wrong. Seeing his father step into his residence angrily, he hurriedly stepped forward to greet him. Bastard! However, as soon as he opened his mouth, Luo Jiuzhou slapped him without hesitation. Slap! How heavy was the slap of a late-stage awakening realm powerhouse. The 3rd prince himself had not yet stepped into the awakening realm. He was only at the peak of the blood-changing realm, and he relied on treasures of heaven and earth to reach this realm. Facing Luo Jiuzhou's slap, he spat out blood and flew out. For a time, the 3rd prince, who had just suffered a blow, was completely stunned. Do you want to anger me to death? Break his legs for this prince. Father. Luo Tianying had already suffered a great loss at the hands of Cho Tsing Hui. Now, seeing that his father was not going to uphold justice for him, he was going to break his legs. An unprecedented fear suddenly surged in his heart. Crack! Ah! The next moment, a shrill scream came out of Luo Tianying's mouth. Luo Jiuzhou did not even look at Luo Tianying, as if he was not his son at all. He waved his hand fiercely and strode out of the 3rd prince's residence. He said sternly, "Bring him here. Catch up with Cho Tsing Hui, child Zhua, and make him kneel and beg for forgiveness." Chapter 49. Xing Hui was naturally unaware of the changes in Lorraine City. At this moment, he had already led the people from the Divine Armament Tower out of the Lorraine royal capital. However, due to the delay in the transmission of the news, there were still quite a number of people following behind them. It was as if they couldn't forget about the level 3 divine weapon in Xing Hui's hands. "Alright, take your men and head to the Eastern Cloud Empire." "I'm going alone," Xing Hui said. Xian Long also felt something. He understood that he would only be a burden if he followed his young master. He immediately bowed respectfully and said, "Young master, please take care. Remember to break through to the awakening realm as soon as possible and reopen the Divine Armament building. In the future, meet me at the Chaos Temple every week and report to me about the collection of the Divine Grimoire." "Yes, young master." Speaking of this, Xian Long seemed to have thought of something. He hesitated for a moment and said, "Sir, it's not easy to buy divine codices in the Eastern Barren territory. After all, the 10 sacred clans are too strict. If you want divine codices, I'm afraid you have to make a move in the Chaos Shrine." "Chaos Temple?" "The Chaos Temple doesn't seem to be able to trade items." "You can't trade items, but the Tier 25 Son of Chaos Incarnation technique doesn't have such a restriction. The incarnation technique is somewhat similar to the consciousness projection of those legendary powerhouses. As long as you have a set of coordinates, you can project your power hundreds of millions of kilometers away. Although the further you go, the greater the consumption and the weaker you'll be, it's not difficult at all if you just want to collect Taoist rhymes and complete a trade." Xian Long's words made Xing Hui's eyes light up. Dao rhyme? Collecting items that contain Taoist rhythms can be exchanged for a divine codex. How many Taoist rhythms does a divine codex require? The market price of an ordinary divine codex is only 5 Taoist rhymes, and there's still room for negotiation. After all, those who have reached the 25th level of primal chaos are all top-notch almighties, and to them, ordinary divine codices might not be that valuable. It's said that there are times when some almighties take a liking to you and will even teach you for free, but the possibility of that happening is too low. Going up, the price will increase exponentially according to the grade of the divine codex. A transcendent divine codex requires 100 Taoist rhymes, which is the entire primal chaos level. 100 Taoist rhymes can be exchanged for a supreme scripture. Xing Hui asked. Xian Long was stunned by Xing Hui's words. After a while, he said in disbelief, 100 Taoist rhymes. That's an entire primal chaos rank. If it weren't for the fact that there are too few transcendent scriptures, no one would exchange for them. Is that so? Xing Hui had forgotten about this. His Taoist rhymes were obtained by 1 point a day. It was too simple. Therefore, he didn't have any direct feelings towards 100 points of Taoist rhymes. It's not easy to obtain supreme treasures that contain the aura of Tao. Every single item that contains the aura of Tao is enough to cause the elders, hall masters, and even sect masters of the 10 sacred grounds to fight over them. Obtaining them all depends on luck. Many sons of chaos only obtain 1 or 2 items that contain the aura of Tao in their entire lives. At this point, Xian Long laughed bitterly, "At least I've been a son of chaos for many years. Let alone obtaining an item that contains the aura of Tao, I've never even heard of it." Of course, this could also be because those sons of chaos would quickly hand over an item that contains the aura of Tao to their elders or use it for themselves. After all, such an item is simply a source of disaster for those without strength and forces. Most of those at the 25th level of the primal chaos rank are in the infinite wasteland region. Moreover, the price of projecting an avatar to the eastern wasteland region is not small. Even a peak 6th level saint would have to spend more than half a month recuperating to use the avatar technique. Moreover, how difficult is it to obtain the aura of Tao? With only a small amount of the aura of Tao, would those top figures be willing to use the avatar technique to project it over? A son of chaos only has one item that contains the aura of Tao. What if a dozen or so sons of chaos gathered together? A dozen or so sons of chaos gathered together, Xian Long nodded. The sons of chaos actually have their own organizations. Generally, they are presided over by a personal space owner. The gathering point is the personal space of that son of chaos. After each of them has the aura of Tao, they will discuss a meeting location. When the aura of Tao in the organization has reached a certain level, they will notify top figures with good reputation to conduct transactions with them. Oh, aren't they afraid of spies sneaking in and being caught in one net? Of course such things happen, and they can't be avoided. Therefore, every organization that joins the organization has to go through a strict test. If one person goes wrong, the entire organization will be implicated. Xian Long paused slightly at this point. In fact, I'm a member of a primal chaos organization. If young master trusts me, I can recommend you to join this organization as a guarantor. However, this organization doesn't have many transactions. It usually takes 1 or 2 years to accumulate enough aura of Tao to conduct a transaction with a certain almighty. Sure. As Tsing Hui spoke, he glanced behind him. The next moment, his figure leaped. Like a meteor striking the moon, he rushed 100 meters away in an instant. 100 meters away, the viscera refining and blood-changing experts who were monitoring the movements of Tsing Hui's group from afar thought that they were very skilled and were very secretive. When they saw Tsing Hui rushing toward them, they were all scared out of their wits. Unfortunately, facing Tsing Hui, who could even kill Awakening Realm experts, even if they were in the Awakening Realm, as long as they were not the best in the Awakening Realm, they would still die when facing Tsing Hui, not to mention that they were only in the viscera refining and blood-changing realms. Swish! Sword light crisscrossed. 23 viscera refining and blood-changing realm experts, who represented unknown forces, were brazenly killed. The few remaining people fled back into the city as fast as they could, not daring to appear in front of Tsing Hui again. Let's split up here. Tsing Hui's figure flashed and returned to Xian Long's side. Yes, young master. Xian Long looked at Tsing Hui gratefully. He knew that Tsing Hui had killed those people to intimidate the forces behind them so that they would not dare to act rashly. Secondly, he had revealed the green firmament sword to let everyone know that the rank 3 divine weapon they needed was in Tsing Hui's hands. 3 days later, I'll meet you at the same place in the Chaos Temple. Young master, be careful on the way. It's a small matter. I'll erase the spiritual imprint on the rank 4 flying sword. If they want to take the rank 3 divine weapon from me, they better do it as soon as possible. If they are still indifferent after 4 or 5 days, then don't blame me for not keeping them company. Rank 4 flying sword, Tsing Hui was able to erase the spiritual imprint on the rank 3 divine weapon, the green firmament sword. Naturally, he could erase the spiritual imprint on the rank 4 flying sword. Once the spiritual imprint on the rank 4 flying sword was erased, he would be able to fly on the sword and enter the sky. By then, apart from Awakening Realm powerhouses who rode rank 2 and rank 3 spirit beasts and cultivators who also had flying swords, he would be able to go anywhere in the world. After understanding this, Xian Long immediately relaxed. If that's the case, then I won't travel with young master. Young master, please rest assured. After leaving the Lorraine Kingdom's territory, I will begin to adjust my condition and attack the Awakening Realm. I won't cause any trouble for young master. Tsing Hui nodded and waved at him, about to leave on his horse. But at this moment, a group of dozens of people quickly rushed over from the Lorraine city. Before they arrived, their voices were already heard. There was a hint of flattery in their tone. Prince Tsing Hui, please wait. Prince Tsing Hui, please wait. Chapter 50. Tsing Hui, who was about to leave, frowned and paused. But he still said to Xian Long, if there is danger, you go first. Yes, child. Xin Long understood that if something happened that Xing Hui couldn't solve, they would be a burden if they stayed here. Prince Xing Hui, Prince Xing Hui. Soon, a group of people approached from afar. When Xin Long clearly saw the leader of the group, who should have been full of majesty, but now had a kind face and even a trace of flattery, it was as if he had seen an inconceivable scene. He couldn't help but rub his eyes, as if he was hallucinating. Looking at his dressing, he should be a member of the royal family of Lorraine. If he sends an ancestor of the royal family who is in the second level of the longevity realm, he may be able to fight with me. But is he in the first level of the longevity realm? Does he want to die? Xing Hui slowly put his right hand on the hilt of the Qingshao sword. Ah! No! Prince Xing Hui, this is the emperor of the Lorraine kingdom. Xin Long saw that Xing Hui mistakenly thought that this person was a hunter hired by the third prince, so he was scared and said quickly. The emperor of the Lorraine kingdom? Xing Hui was slightly stunned. At this time, Luo Jiuzhou had already come to a place less than 10 meters away from Xing Hui. Under the gaze of Xin Long, Qin Hong and others, who widened their eyes as if they had seen a ghost, he bowed to Xing Hui with a smile. Greetings, Prince Xing Hui. Xing Hui was still vigilant, holding the sword with one hand. I wonder why the monarch of the Lorraine kingdom stopped me. If you are here to avenge your son, I, Xing Hui, will accept it. How dare I? I am here to apologize to Prince Xing Hui. Luo Jiuzhou said and shouted to the subordinates behind him, bring that unfilial son here. Yes. One of the awakening realm worshippers responded. Soon, a wailing man was brought to the front of the crowd by two great worshippers. They threw him to the ground. This man looked like he had been in a high position for a long time. He had a graceful and luxurious temperament. However, his legs were clearly broken and his face was twisted in pain. Naturally, he no longer had any elegance. After being thrown to the ground by the two consecrators, he screamed in pain again. This is the third prince. Xin Long was slightly startled. Then, he confirmed with a startled look, yes. This is His Highness the Third Prince. I once saw him from afar. There is no doubt that he is the third prince, but how could he? It is precisely that unfilial son of mine. That unfilial son actually dared to offend Prince Xing Hui. His crime is truly unforgivable. After I found out about this matter, I was furious. I specially ordered people to break his legs and have him come to beg for forgiveness from you, Prince Xing Hui. As for how to punish him, Prince Xing Hui, I will not complain in the slightest. Luo Jiuzhou smiled and cupped his hands. Then, he turned to Luo Tianying and said sternly, kneel down. At this time, Luo Tianying was simply about to cry. Originally, he had mobilized a large number of people to take revenge on Chou Xing Hui for killing Sword Rain Scholar. When everyone knew about it, Xing Hui had killed most of the experts in his residence. His vitality was greatly damaged and his reputation was ruined. However, because of the third-level magic weapon, he did not dare to take revenge. He could only pin his hopes on the myriad swords mountain, who had always looked down on him. One could imagine the grievance and anger in his heart. When he finally returned to his own residence, he didn't even have time to drink water before his entire residence was surrounded by his father's men. Before he could figure out what was going on, he was slapped in the face. Following that, his legs were broken, causing him, who had lived a life of luxury since he was young, to faint from the pain. Now that he had finally woken up, he was forced by his father to kneel down and apologize to Chou Xing Hui, who had brought him endless humiliation, in front of so many people. The humiliation aside, the key point was, his legs were broken. How could he kneel down? Fortunately, at this time, Luo Jiuzhou realized that there was something wrong with his statement. He looked a little embarrassed, but he immediately turned to the two consecrators, hold him down and kneel down. Let Prince Xing Hui deal with him. Yes. The two guardians restrained Luo Tianying and could only keep him in a kneeling position. Even so, Luo Tianying was still humiliated to be forced to kneel in front of Qing Su in front of so many people. What terrified him even more was that his father, Luo Zhozhou, was treating him like this. Was there still a chance for him to take the throne of the Lorraine kingdom? Could he still keep his identity as a prince? Luo Zhozhou had more than a dozen children. It did not matter if he had one more or one less. Once he lost his identity as a prince, what was Luo Tianying? After figuring this out, he really trembled in fear. Monarch Luo, what do you mean? Tsing Hui's eyes fell on Luo Zhozhou. Tsing Hui was not the only one who wanted to know this question. Behind Luo Zhozhou, the eldest prince Luo Tiancheng, the 10th prince Luo Jianglu, and the 12th prince Luo Hunyuan also couldn't wait to know the answer. What happened on earth that made the monarch of the Luolin kingdom put justice before family to please Cho Tsing Hui and quench his anger? This unfilial son deserves to die for being disobedient. Prince Tsing Hui, don't worry about me. Just punish him as you wish. Speaking of this, Luo Zhozhou lowered his voice slightly. Prince Tsing Hui, please put in a good word for us in front of Miss Naylan when you see her. I really didn't know that Prince Tsing Hui was a member of Miss Naylan's family. Otherwise, as early as the first day when Prince Tsing Hui entered Yunwu City, we should have invited Prince Tsing Hui to the palace as a host. Although Luo Zhozhou's voice was low, several princes close to him, as well as Xian Long and others, still heard it clearly. For a moment, they were all at a loss. Naylan Fei. Naylan Fei was just an inherited disciple who ranked less than 300. How could she make the entire Luolin royal family bow down to her? However, Tsing Hui was surprised at first, and then he quickly thought of something. He remembered that Yu Shanshan seemed to have said before leaving. Naylan Fei took the key step and broke through the cultivation. The third level of the longevity realm, refining qi into gang. The Luolin royal family was not afraid of the second level of the longevity realm. Even if it was someone at the peak of the genuine qi realm, the Luolin royal family could fight against him with the help of the ancestors and third-level magic weapons. However, a person at the third level of the longevity realm, refining qi into gang, she was already qualified to suppress the Luolin royal family. In particular, Naylan Fei was so young and had unlimited potential. The people of the Luolin royal family must have known the news, so it was reasonable for them to have such an attitude. Tsing Hui didn't want to act with the help of others, especially Naylan Fei. His goal was to shatter the vacuum as soon as possible, find the cave residence of the true god, Jun, and then return to the earth to meet Jiang Ningji to fulfill his original promise. Therefore, he didn't want to have too much involvement with Naylan Fei and the Zhuo family. But now, it was impossible not to be involved. At least, he had to owe her a favor for the Luolin royal family. Since he had decided to owe her a favor, then, Tsing Hui looked at Luo Tianying coldly, and decided his life and death with one sentence: Monarch Luo, your son is too arrogant and domineering. He really needs to be disciplined. He has today's power because he is a prince. Since you have broken his legs, then abolish his cultivation, deprive him of his identity as a prince, remove his royal ancestral records, and demote him to a commoner as punishment. Chapter 51. Commoner. Deprive him of his identity. At this moment, Luo Tianying couldn't help but shout in horror, no. No. Don't deprive me of my identity. Prince Tsing Hui, I was wrong. Please forgive me. From now on, I will never dare to disrespect you, Prince Tsing Hui. Please, don't deprive me of my identity. Tsing Hui didn't say anything else. Seeing that Tsing Hui had spoken, Luo Zhozhou naturally wouldn't hesitate. Once Tsing Hui was dissatisfied, the ancestors would also be dissatisfied. If the ancestors were dissatisfied, he would no longer be able to sit on the throne. He immediately ordered without hesitation, well, as Prince Tsing Hui said, from now on, deprive the third Prince Luo Tianying of his identity as a prince, remove his ancestral records from the imperial clan court, and demote him to a commoner. No. No. Luo Tianying let out a shrill scream. He had offended countless people in his life. His cultivation was abolished and he was reduced to a mortal. His legs were broken, and he no longer had the identity of a prince. His future was already foreseeable. This was crueler than killing him. This scene fell into the eyes of Luo Tiancheng, Luo Jianglu, Luo Hunyuan, Princess Qingyuan, and the others. They all widened their eyes in disbelief. His Majesty Luo Zhozhou, did he really deprive Luo Tianying of his identity and remove his ancestral records, as Tsing Hui said? What kind of background did he have? When they thought up to there, the gazes of the princes and their guests towards Qing Su were immediately filled with reverence. Well, this matter is over. I'm in a hurry, so I'll take my leave first. Tsing Hui said. Prince Tsing Hui, it's late today. Why don't you take a rest in the imperial city and treat it as an apology for offending you before? No, that's all. I'll have someone escort Prince Tsing Hui all the way, in case there are any unscrupulous people plotting against you. No need. Tsing Hui finished and cupped his hands to Luo Zhozhou, goodbye. After that, he rode his horse and left. Prince Tsing Hui, have a safe journey. If you have time, please come to the imperial city of Luolin. Luo Zhozhou shouted loudly, and his tone sounded so sincere. This scene fell into the eyes of Luo Tiancheng, Luo Jianglu, Luo Hunyuan, and the others. They secretly made up their minds that if they had a chance in the future, they must find ways to befriend Tsing Hui. For no other reason than their father's attitude towards Tsing Hui. Qing Su spurred his horse away, gradually going further and further away. Due to Luo Zhozhou's obstruction, some forces that were ready to attack Tsing Hui suddenly stopped. They were ignorant and fearless of Tsing Hui's background, but they were extremely afraid of the imperial family of Luolin. Besides, even the imperial family of Luolin gave up stopping Tsing Hui for some reason. Before they really figured out what happened, they dared not act rashly. Under these circumstances, the Green Ruins peacefully broke away from the boundaries of the Lorraine royal capital. 300 miles away from the imperial city of Luolin, Tsing Hui detoured around the Yunhuang mountain range and went straight to the deep mountains and forests. If he wanted to self-awaken, in addition to constantly improving his sword intent, he could only suppress the limits of his body. Only in this way could he take the crucial step. The biggest difference between the life of this world and the life of our earth is that there are various kinds of bloodlines hidden in their bodies. The characteristic of humans being the spirit of all things has been demonstrated incisively and vividly in this world. Even the top mythological beast bloodline in the world has to show its human form in the end. It can be inferred that the most powerful bloodline in the world is not the mythological beast, but the human itself. However, the human's bloodline level is limited here. There are no characteristics on the surface. Without the help of external forces, the weakest ferocious beast can kill a human. Tsing Hui pondered the principle of self-awakening in his mind. Born in the world of earth, he had a characteristic of pursuing reason and evidence in his thinking. Coupled with his enhanced perception at the fourth level, he quickly captured the biggest characteristic of human, or bloodline talent. Compatibility. The human bloodline could be compatible with all bloodlines in the world. And the basis for all of this was the word spirit, the spirit of all living things. Or in other words, soul. No wonder self-awakened people can be compatible with other bloodlines and cultivate two bloodlines at the same time. It's because their souls are far stronger than ordinary people. Supreme Nine Sword was able to achieve self-awakening because he used the sword intent of the Tai One sword to sharpen his own soul. When the pressure on the soul reaches the limit, it will undergo a transformation and awaken. After the spiritual awakening, it will affect the physical body in complete self-awakening. After a summary, Tsing Hui suddenly understood the direction of self-awakening. A spiritual transformation. The higher the upper limit of the spiritual power, the better the transformation effect, and the better the talent from self-awakening. A spiritual transformation. The soul appears as the spirit in the Son of Chaos interface, but it seems to be to maintain the uniformity of the interface. The spirit value is different from attack, defense, and speed. If these three attributes are higher by 1 point at the same time, there will be an advantage. If it is higher by 2 points, the advantage will turn into an obvious advantage, and when it is higher by 3 points, it will be a crushing advantage. In other words, under normal circumstances, if there is a 9-point difference in attributes, the outcome of the battle cannot be reversed by luck, battle intent, and fighting spirit. However, if one does not comprehend sword intent, a 10-point difference in the spirit attribute will hardly have any effect. With my level 34 spiritual power, the opponent's spirit level must be above level 60 to make my soul overload and undergo a transformation. Level 60 corresponded to the Almighty of the 6th level of the longevity stage and the prominent divine stage. The 6th level of the longevity stage was the level of the masters of the 10 great sacred lands. Did he really have to enter the Hunyuan heaven sect? Thinking of this, Tsing Hui frowned. It was troublesome to have a high spirit level. At that moment, the sound of galloping horses came from ahead. There was also a faint shout. Over here. Don't let them escape. Someone dares to chase after me. Tsing Hui's expression turned cold. However, a new voice soon sounded. Although he has a blood transformation realm cultivation, he has lost an arm and lost more than half of his strength. In addition, he was severely injured by the captain and is on the verge of death. He's no longer worth mentioning. Speed up the search. Since young Master Longquan has offered a price, we can only capture that woman and sell her to young Master Longquan. Only then can we recoup our huge loss of millions of gold. Yes. A response sounded. From the sound of it, there were no less than 100 people. All of them were full of energy. They were clearly elites at the marrow cleansing realm or even the viscera refining realm. Tsing Hui could not be bothered with them, but at that moment, 2 figures covered in blood suddenly rushed out from the grass in front of him. They looked extremely wretched. These 2 people were clearly in a panic from being chased by those people and did not notice Tsing Hui walking on the mountain path. When they saw Tsing Hui, they could not help but be stunned. Immediately after, the 2 people's faces revealed a look of horror. It's you. At that moment, Tsing Hui recognized the 2 people. They were the children of the Lorraine Kingdom's Beast Hunter Union's president, Hunyuan, Wu Ju, and Wu Yuyao. However, the situation of the 2 presidents' children was very bad. Chapter 52. Tsing Hui glanced at the 2 of them. Although Wu Ju was a blood transformation expert, he had lost an arm and had less than 60% of his cultivation left. Now, he was being chased by a large number of experts and had been stabbed several times. He was on the verge of death and was completely relying on his sister, Wu Yuyao, to carry him to escape. Wu Yuyao was still young and only had the strength of the marrow cleansing realm. She would be considered an expert in some small cities, but in King Fu's capital, she was not even worth mentioning. While being chased, she had also reached her limits and her mental state was on the verge of collapse. However, the grudge between them had been resolved with Wu Hunyuan's death and Wu Ju's compensation of 1 million gold. Tsing Hui would not waste time on them. After glancing at the 2 of them, he quickly withdrew his gaze and was about to leave. But at that moment, the dying Wu Ju seemed to have grabbed onto a life-saving straw. He forcefully raised his mental state and shouted weakly. Then, ignoring his injuries, he knelt before Tsing Hui and said, "Prince Tsing Hui, please wait. Please save my sister, Yuyao." Brother, Tsing Hui glanced at the 2 of them. He could not think of a reason to save them. Prince Tsing Hui, I know that I have offended you before, but I already know my mistakes and have paid the price for my foolish actions. I, Wu Ju, have offended Prince Tsinghui. My death is not to be regretted, but my sister has a kind heart. She is innocent. Prince Tsinghui, please be merciful and save my sister." After Wu Ju finished speaking, he kowtowed to Tsinghui in desperation. His forehead heavily hit the ground, causing it to bleed. Tsinghui glanced at Wu Ju and then at the people from the Demon Hunters Union who were chasing in this direction. His expression did not change much as he said, "I have no reason to save you. I'm seriously injured and will definitely die. Moreover, I didn't know what's good for me and offended Prince Tsinghui. My death is not enough to be regretted. I only ask that Prince Tsinghui save my sister. As long as Prince Tsinghui is willing, Wu Ju will work like an ox or a horse in my next life to repay Prince Tsinghui's kindness." Wu Ju said mournfully. In the end, he kowtowed again and again. Soon, his forehead was blood-red. The son of the president of the Union of Demon Hunters had completely lost his power after the death of Wu Hunyuan. Together with the millions of gold coins that his family had brought to the Union of Demon Hunters, a lot of people in the Union of Demon Hunters added insult to injury. Not only were all his properties taken away, his own life was in danger, too. "Prince Tsinghui, I know that you are a good person. Please save my brother." To the side, Wu Yuyao also knelt down and begged sorrowfully. Although she appeared to be in a rather sorry state at this moment, it still couldn't conceal the gentle and virtuous natural beauty on her body. Especially the light yellow dress on her body, which had been torn apart by the leaves in her panicked escape, revealing her forearms and the snow-white skin at her waist. It added a delicate beauty to her, and at first glance, it was breathtaking. No wonder that so-called young Master Long Quan was willing to help the Demon Hunters Union fill the millions of gold coins whole in order to buy her. Unfortunately, Tsinghui had no intention of interfering in this matter. Seeing Tsinghui turn and leave without hesitation and hearing the shouts coming from afar, Wu Ju's eyes flashed with deep despair. His face was filled with regret. His family was ruined. If he had not relied on his identity as the son of the president of the Demon Hunters Union to act arrogant and despotic in the Divine Armament Tower and refused to forgive Tsinghui, how could he have ended up in such a situation? Intense regret engulfed his heart, making him want to howl to the sky. At this time, Wu Yuyao suddenly had the courage to quickly come to Tsinghui and beg, "Prince Tsinghui, please save my brother. As long as you can save my brother, I am willing to do anything you want me to do. Even if I have to be a slave or a maid, I will not hesitate." Tsinghui frowned and was about to say something, but at this time, a special wave turned into a message that suddenly sounded in his mind. "Discovered Dao Vessel. Do you want to fuse it?" It was the voice of the Chaos Temple. Dao Vessel. Tsinghui's gaze immediately fell on Wu Yuyao in front of him. Dao vessels could only be sensed when they were 10 meters away. Wu Ju was still 10 meters away from him, but Wu Yuyao, in order to stop him, was only 4 meters away from him. She had a Dao vessel on her. A Dao vessel would at least have a little Dao aura, and a little Dao aura was usually worth a 5th or 6th level divine weapon. For a moment, Tsinghui's gaze was constantly sizing up Wu Yuyao, as if he wanted to find the location of the Dao vessel on her body. Being sized up by Tsinghui, Wu Yuyao's heart was filled with humiliation and fear. But in order to save her brother, she had to straighten her slender waist and do her best to show her beautiful side, hoping to use her value to exchange for Tsinghui's help. Xiao! 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 At this time, the pursuers finally caught up. As the bushes and trees in front of them were separated, several figures appeared at the scene at the same time. Seeing Wu Ju and Wu Yuyao, the leading blood transformation realm old man's eyes suddenly lit up and he excitedly shouted, "Here, Vice President Yan's 30,000 gold reward will finally fall into my hands. Young Master Wu Ju, in order for the new president to safely lead the Demon Hunters Association to prosperity, I can only ask you to die. As for young Miss Wu, you can obediently serve young Master Long Quan in the future." However, when the Viscera Refinement Realm expert behind him saw Tsing Hui behind Wu Yuyao, his pupils suddenly shrank. His pleasant surprise instantly turned into fear. It's you, The blood transformation realm expert named Old Wu also saw Tsing Hui. His hands were still fine, so it was obvious that he hadn't experienced the battle at the Divine Weapon Tower. Seeing that Tsing Hui was young, he immediately sneered, "Where did this brat come from? My Demon Hunters Association has matters to attend to, and you still dare to stay here? Scram! Tsing Hui, Captain Wu, this is Cho Tsing Hui." The Viscera Refinement Realm expert who recognized Tsing Hui's identity was so frightened that his voice trembled. "What Tsing Hui, Pak Hui, he's just a brat." Captain Wu waved his hand with a disdainful expression. However, in just a moment, he seemed to have thought of something and his face suddenly became deathly pale. Cho Tsing Hui? The Cho Tsing Hui who killed President Wu, Sword Rain Scholar, and slaughtered the 5 great guests of the Third Prince's residence. Yes, it's him. This Viscera Refinement Realm expert fiercely nodded his head. Suddenly, Captain Wu felt his legs go soft, as if he couldn't even stand properly. With a frightened expression, he turned to Tsing Hui. "Prince Tsing Hui, it's a misunderstanding, I didn't know it was Prince Tsing Hui." Clang. What answered him was the sound of a treasured sword being unsheathed. Accompanied by a flash of sword light, the treasured sword returned to its sheath. Captain Wu's smile, which was full of fear and flattery, suddenly froze. In the next moment, a stream of blood blossomed from between his eyebrows. The sword aura had already pierced through the space between his eyebrows. Seeing that Captain Wu didn't even have the chance to react before being killed, the remaining experts of the Demon Hunter Union were all frightened into silence. They didn't dare to move an inch. "Tell the higher-ups of the Demon Hunter Union that I'm protecting the 2 of them. If anyone doesn't want to let this go, tell them to come find me." Hearing Tsing Hui's words, the remaining people all felt as if they had been pardoned. Yes. We'll definitely tell our president. If Prince Tsing Hui wants them, our Demon Hunter Union wouldn't dare to not give them to him. We'll return now and tell the others that we won't chase after the 2 of them anymore. Thank you Prince Tsing Hui for sparing our lives. Thank you Prince Tsing Hui. We'll take our leave. The remaining people responded with a panicked expression. They didn't dare to stay at the scene for even half a second longer. One by one, they fled as fast as they could, disappearing into the forest in the blink of an eye. Chapter 53. Brother. Wu Yuyao's sorrowful voice resounded through the forest just as Captain Wu and the others were escaping. Wu Ju was dead. He had only managed to hang on until now because of his determination to protect Wu Yuyao. Now that Qin Su had intervened and saved Wu Yuyao, his wish had been fulfilled. Now that he had let go of his last breath, he would naturally die. Tsing Hui didn't say anything about this. He wasn't good at comforting people. Wu Yuyao cried by herself for half an hour before she finally accepted the reality in front of her. She was still afraid of Tsing Hui and didn't dare to be presumptuous in front of him. She had to dig the ground herself to bury Wu Ju's body. Tsing Hui saw her slow down and unsheathed the green cloud sword. Sword chi overflowed. In an instant, a hole with a diameter of 2 meters and a depth of 1 meter was formed. Thank you, Wu Yuyao thanked him softly and then pushed Wu Ju into the hole and piled up the soil. By the time she used a piece of wood to erect the torched tombstone, 2 hours had already passed. Seeing that Wu Yuyao was almost done, Tsing Hui asked, "What valuable things do you have on you?" Valuable things. Wu Yuyao was still immersed in grief, but out of fear of Tsing Hui, she didn't dare to not answer his question. After a while, she took out a sparkling gem and asked softly, "Is this what Prince Tsing Hui is talking about?" "Yes, it is." Tsing Hui felt the slight movement of the Chaos Temple in his mind and nodded slightly. As he held the gem in his hand, the Chaos Temple's prompt sounded again. Discovered Tao carrying object, Tao aura value 2. Do you want to integrate it? This number surprised Xing Hui. Moreover, this gem seemed to be separated from a whole body, and there seemed to be other parts. Xing Hui looked at Wu Yuyao. Do you know the origin of this object? This was something my father obtained by chance the last time he went out of the desolate Cloud Mountain range to pursue a spirit beast. Because of its gorgeous color, my father kept it and passed it to me in the end. When Wu Yuyao said this, she seemed to think of her father, Wu Hunyuan, and her expression couldn't help but turn gloomy. Last time, did anyone know where these gems came from? Following my father to the desolate Cloud Mountain range, there are 12 members of the 1st Brigade led by Captain Xianyu. If Prince Xing Hui wants to find this item, he will have to find the other members of the 1st Brigade to lead the way. Where are they? Take me to them. Other than the captain and vice-captain of the 1st Brigade, only 3 of the 10 people are left. The remaining 9 have all died. At this point, Wu Yuyao looked at Xing Hui in fear. Obviously, those 9 people were killed by Xing Hui. Of the remaining 3, Uncle Ning Shan died 2 days ago to help the 2 of us break out of the encirclement. Uncle Huang Shang lost an arm and was killed by an enemy. Only Uncle Zhou Buwei saw that the situation was bad and escaped from the Lorraine Kingdom. Currently, I don't know where Uncle Zhou is, his whereabouts are unknown. Xing Hui's brows furrowed. This world was different from Earth. There was a network everywhere. Looking for a person was like looking for a needle in a haystack. However, if they could use thousands of people to do a carpet search, they might be able to find Zhou Buwei's whereabouts. It was just a matter of time. Manpower, the Lorraine royal family. If Xing Hui owed Naylan Fei a favor, he might be able to let the Lorraine royal family find Zhou Buwei's whereabouts. However, this way, there was the risk of being exposed. How's the relationship between Zhou Buwei and your father? Uncle Zhou is loyal to my father. The members of the 1st Demon Hunter team are all my father's confidants. Uncle Zhou escaped because he knew that he had no other choice. Good. Where's the nearest branch of the Demon Hunters Guild? This place is only 300 kilometers away from the Lorraine Royal Capital. The largest branch is naturally the Lorraine Royal Capital branch. However, 200 kilometers ahead, at the foot of the Cloud Wilderness mountain range, there's 100 Desolation City. The city isn't big, but because it's backed by the Cloud Wilderness mountain range, our Demon Hunters Guild has stationed many powerhouses there. It can be considered one of the top 5 branches in the Lorraine Kingdom. To the 100 Desolation City. Xing Hui said and leaped onto the horse. After a moment, he glanced at Wu Yuyao, who was in a sorry state because she had been fleeing for the past few days. He had no choice but to extend his hand. Get on the horse. Wu Yuyao bit her lips. Riding on the same horse as a stranger. This was something that she had never experienced before. However, due to her fear of Xing Hui, she did not dare to refuse. She could only extend her hand and let Xing Hui pull her into his embrace. Sit tight. Xing Hui said and did not have any other thoughts. There was a person living in his heart, and he had a promise to her. His promise to her had already filled his heart, and he would not give up any space for anyone else. A distance of 200 kilometers would take 5 to 6 hours for an ordinary horse, not to mention 2 people riding on it. When night fell, Xing Hui and Wu Yuyao appeared outside the 100 Desolation City. The 100 Desolation City was similar to the Cloud Wilderness mountain range. It was a war fortress that defended against the attacks of the ferocious beasts in the Cloud Wilderness mountain range. It was built very tall and was guarded by an army. Due to its proximity to the desolate Cloud Mountain range, most of the passers-by in 100 Desolation City were martial artists. Even if there were some ordinary residents who weren't martial artists, they more or less had some foundation in cultivation, causing the people here to be swift and fierce, and powerhouses to emerge in an endless stream. Prince Xing Hui, may I know why we came to the 100 Desolation City? Zhou Buwei is being hunted down, so he must be hiding very well and will not show up easily. However, once the Demon Hunters Guild stops persecuting you, and the news that you are in the 100 Desolation City spreads, he will take the initiative to come to you. Xing Hui said. But, Mr. Qing Su, if you're here too, the people of the Union of Demon Hunters won't let you go easily once they learn about your whereabouts. I understand. Xing Hui said. Although the Demon Hunters Union had many powerhouses, Nalan Fei probably wouldn't just stand by and watch if they really didn't give up. A powerhouse who had cultivated Qi into aura with a bright future, anyone who wanted to offend him would have to think twice. Furthermore, the people who stood at the pinnacle of the Demon Hunters Guild were only at immortal level 2. With the Green Firmament Sword, he was confident that he would not be weaker than any of the immortal level 2 powerhouses. Other than the Green Firmament Sword, he also had a 4th order flying sword. With this sword, he could advance and retreat as he pleased, coming and going as he pleased. This method was somewhat dangerous, and he needed to owe Nalan Fei a favor and take advantage of her power to act. However, it was the best method he could think of at the moment. It seems that I have to write a letter to Nalan Fei. Xing Hui thought to himself, but he had already arrived in front of the Demon Hunters Guild. That is, when the 2 guards of the Demon Hunters Guild saw Wu Yuyao, their eyes lit up slightly. Then one of them winked and immediately sent someone to report. The other person quickly greeted with a smile, "Miss, you're back. How did Miss become like this? Please come in." Xing Hui glanced at the guard and did not speak. He followed Wu Yuyao into the Demon Hunters Guild. Not long after they stepped into the Demon Hunters Guild, a group of dozens of people quickly surrounded them. Then, a man with the cultivation of the blood transformation realm laughed out loud, "Ha ha ha, I can wear out iron shoes in a fruitless search, only to find it without any effort. I didn't think that young Master Long Quan's reward would be mine in the end, President Tong Fei." Wu Yuyao looked at the man who had obviously turned to the new president, and her eyes dimmed slightly. In the past, when her father was still alive, these people were all courteous to her and doted on her. But today, people were gone, and the tea was cold. This made her truly see through the fickleness of human nature. "Huh, since young Miss Yuyao has delivered herself to me, I presume you've thought it through. I, Tong Fei, will not treat you unfairly. Before young Master Long Quan sends people to take you away, I'll definitely provide you with good food and drink until," Tong Fei laughed loudly, his face full of pride. However, before he finished laughing, he glanced at Xing Hui from the corner of his eyes. Suddenly, as if his neck was suddenly grabbed, his laughter stopped abruptly. "Qing. Prince Xing Hui." Chapter 54. Don't be rude. Don't be rude to Prince Xing Hui. After recognizing Qing Su's identity, Tong Fei hurriedly yelled at the experts of the Union of Demon Hunters in the surroundings. He was afraid that they would be reckless enough to offend Qing Su and bring disaster to their branch. After stopping the ordinary people of the Yao Hunters Union, he bowed to Xing Hui with sweat on his forehead, "So it's Prince Xing Hui. I apologize for not going out to welcome you. Please forgive me, Prince Xing Hui." Xing Hui glanced at him and went straight to the point, "I'm protecting Wu Yuyao. I'll be staying in 100 Desolation City for a while. If that young Master Dragon Spring has any objections, he can look for me directly. If he dares to make a move in the dark, don't blame my sword for being merciless." "Yes, yes, yes. I'll definitely pass on your words." Tong Fei hurriedly bowed in response. At the same time, his eyes were filled with disbelief. Wasn't there a deep hatred between Xing Hui and Wu Hunyuan? Why would he step forward to protect Wu Yuyao, even at the expense of offending young Master Dragon Spring? "Let's go back." After giving his instructions, Xing Hui directly settled down in an inn in 100 Desolation City. At present, he could only wait passively, hoping that Zhou Buwei would come to him for the sake of Wu Hunyuan after learning that Wu Yuyao was safe and sound. After doing all this, Tsinghui waited in the inn for 2 days, fully focused on polishing the spiritual imprint of Vagabond Goldenlight on the Grade 4 flying sword. When the time came for his meeting with Xian Long, he left a part of his mind on guard, while the other part operated the Primal Chaos secret method and went straight to the Primal Chaos Temple. Young Master. Not long after entering the Primal Chaos Temple, Xian Long, who had been waiting for some time, came to welcome him. Alright, take me to the Sons of Primal Chaos organization you mentioned. Please follow me, young master. Xian Long respectfully led the way. Tsinghui glanced at Xian Long. How's Dragon Chant Island's influence in the Lorraine Kingdom? Our Dragon Chant Island's main force is in the sea south of the Lorraine Kingdom. We have quite a bit of influence in the coastal areas, but in the interior of the Lorraine Kingdom, we can't be compared to the other forces. Send a message to Dragon Chant Island to find a person for me. He is Zhou Buwei, a member of the first Demon Hunter team of the Demon Hunters Union. The members of the first Demon Hunter team of the Demon Hunters Guild are all Wu Hunyuan's trusted subordinates. Now that the Lorraine branch of the Demon Hunters Guild has a new power structure, the old subordinates of Wu Hunyuan will probably be suppressed. If Zhou Buwei wants to hide, it won't be easy to find him. Do your best. Tsinghui was just asking. He didn't have much hope for Xian Long. Yes. Xian Long agreed. After a moment, he carefully suggested, if young master really wants to find Zhou Buwei, I'm afraid you'll have to start with Wu Hunyuan. If one of Wu Hunyuan's trusted aides becomes the president of the Demon Hunters Union with young master's secret support, Zhou Buwei will definitely come to join you. I secretly supported someone to become the president of the Demon Hunters Union of the Lorraine Kingdom. Is it feasible? Of course it's feasible. Xian Long said, behind young master is Nailan Fei, who has already broken through to the Qi cultivation aura realm. Miss Nailan Fei has entered the 3rd level of the longevity realm at such a young age. It can be said that her future is limitless. In the future, there's a great chance that she will become the disciple of a peak master and oversee a peak. Even the elders of the sect wouldn't easily offend such a person. As long as young master shows a little goodwill to the Demon Hunters Union, the Demon Hunters Union definitely won't mind using this opportunity to step down and use young master as a springboard to climb up to Miss Nailan Fei. Influence, Tsinghui frowned. To do this, he would need to borrow Nailan Fei's influence to succeed, and he would also need to give in to the Demon Hunters Union, who wanted to take his life with a bounty on the divine weapon. It was not in line with Tsinghui's ideals. What's the real strength of the Demon Hunters Union? I want to know the detailed information of the Demon Hunters Union. My knowledge of this information is limited, but according to my judgment, the president of the Demon Hunters Union is only a genuine Qi realm expert at the 2nd level of the longevity realm. In addition, he should have several genuine Qi realm experts as his left and right arms. If young master really wants to know the detailed information of the Demon Hunters Union and even the information of the person behind him, there must be someone in the organization that I'm about to recommend young master to know. Or, is there any information in the Eastern Wilderness that they don't know? Tsinghui's heart skipped a beat as if he had thought of something. The Tianji Pavilion? Yes, there is a disciple of the Tianji Pavilion in our Sons of Chaos organization. Xian Long said. Introduce him to me. The Tianji Pavilion was one of the most mysterious forces in the Eastern Wilderness. It was not in the 10 Holy Lands, but none of the 10 Holy Lands dared to underestimate it. It was a mysterious force that made a living by selling information. As long as there were enough benefits, there was no information in the Eastern Wilderness that they couldn't find out. Moreover, it was rumored that the Tianji Pavilion seemed to be vaguely related to the Divine Secrets Pavilion, a top force in the distant Infinite Wilderness. This was also the reason why the 10 Holy Lands dared not openly attack the Tianji Pavilion, even though they knew that the Tianji Pavilion was secretly spying on them. Under Xian Long's lead, the two quickly arrived at a side hall, where a middle-aged man was already waiting. Jin Long, the middle-aged man, nodded to Xian Long and then turned to Tsing Hui. "Hello, I'm one of the people in charge of the external affairs of Dawn. My code name is Blazing Glory. You'll find that joining Dawn is the right choice." Tsing Hui was somewhat surprised. He had originally thought that there would be a series of tests. The man who called himself Blazing Glory seemed to see through Tsing Hui's doubts. He smiled bitterly and said, "Those higher-level organizations naturally have to be careful when they invite newcomers. However, Dawn is only a small organization, and there aren't that many Sons of Chaos who are willing to take the initiative to join. Having one more newcomer is beneficial to us, so the difficulty of the tests is naturally very low. As long as there is a recommendation from a senior member, any Son of Chaos can join Dawn. Of course, before you've completely gained the trust of our deacons and leaders, we won't meet with you outside of the Chaos Temple." Tsing Hui nodded understandingly. "Alright, we generally don't use our real names when doing things in Dawn. Choose a code name yourself." "I'm Pak Hui." "Alright, remember my hand seal." As Blazing Glory spoke, he used a hand seal. As Tsing Hui repeated the hand seal, the space around him changed. Before long, he appeared in a space that was divided into layers. A personal space. However, unlike his personal space in Qing Su, which was completely white and filled with only a few miscellaneous items, not only were there all sorts of barriers separating the space in this personal space, there were even a few rooms of different sizes. A level 1 personal space was 10 meters in length, width, and height. This space used this as a foundation to open up 3 levels, which were the living room, conference room, and some small rooms for private transactions. The materials used to divide the rooms were excellent for silencing. Even if they spoke in private, other than the owner of the personal space, there was no need to worry about their secrets being exposed. In the same personal space, this Son of Chaos had decorated it with color, but Tsing Hui basically did not pay much attention to it. Instantly, he felt a little ashamed. His chaos level had come too easily, so much so that he had not carefully studied how to maximize the effects of the abilities given by the chaos level. Advancement skills, divine arts, personal space, sword Dao talent, comprehension, recovery, and other characteristics, he had to study them properly when he had time. "Your Excellency Pak Hui, welcome." As Tsing Hui stepped into the living room of this personal space, a well-dressed woman who looked to be in her late 20s greeted him with a smile. "This is the Lord of Dawn, Lord Lingyu, a level 9 Son of Chaos." "Hello." Tsing Hui nodded to the woman, Lingyu. "These are the rules that you have to follow to join Dawn. Please take a look." As Lingyu spoke, she handed a book to Tsing Hui. Qing Su flipped through the books. During that time, quite a few Sons of Chaos who just happened to be in the Chaos Divine Hall gathered over. They smiled. "A newcomer? How's your chaos level?" "Our rule is that we don't force people to report their chaos level. It's all voluntary. I'm just asking. Speaking of which, when will Lord Lingyu reach level 10? There have been many people around that area recently. I don't know how long that cave can be hidden." "Soon. My Daoist rhyme has reached 94 points. I'm only 6 points away. I'll think of a way as soon as I reach level 10, learn the divine arts, and defeat the trial puppet that's 1 level higher than me. Then, I'll be able to pass the final test. It's too difficult to kill enemies without the help of divine weapons. But I'm waiting for Lord Lingyu to give me a share of the treasures in that cave. I promised you 30%. I won't disappoint you." We've followed Lord Lingyu for more than 10 years. Of course, we believe in Lord Lingyu's reputation." Lingyu and the Son of Chaos chatted casually. After Tsing Hui finished reading the rules, Lingyu turned to Tsing Hui and asked, "Your Excellency Pak Hui, what do you think?" "I'm willing to join Dawn." "Good. Your Excellency Pak Hui, welcome. Chapter 55. When will Dawn organize a trade with the powerful beings of the infinite wasteland world? Tsing Hui directly stated his purpose of joining Dawn. Can I ask Prince Tsing Hui what kind of item he wants to trade with the powerful beings of the infinite wasteland world? Divine Codex. Ling Yu nodded as if it was reasonable. The Divine Codex of the Eastern Wasteland world was monopolized by the 10 great sacred clans. Ordinary rogue cultivators who wanted to obtain the inheritance of the Divine Codex had to join the 10 great sacred clans and make great contributions, or find the cave abodes of the powerful beings. However, these two opportunities were hard to come by. Instead, it was best to accumulate enough Dao aura and trade with the powerful beings of the infinite wasteland world. It was said that the Divine Codex of the 10 great sacred clans was passed down from the infinite wasteland world. Although the Divine Codex is extremely valuable, it is most effective before the bloodline awakens. When the bloodline awakens, the most important thing for cultivators is no longer the Divine Codex itself, but the battle body formed by condensing the bloodline completely. For example, the Azure Dragon Sacred Body of the Azure Dragon series, the White Tiger Sacred Body of the White Tiger series, the Burning Sky Sacred Body of the Vermilion Bird series, the Xuanwu Sacred Body of the Xuanwu series, and so on. The moment the sacred body is fully formed, the phantom of the sacred beast can be activated and manifested. This is the end of the 6th stage of the eternal life, the prominent divine realm. Ling Yu paused. Although the Divine Codex is impressive, it is limited to those below the awakening realm. It doesn't require too much Daoist rhyme. Coincidentally, 3 members of our organization also need to prepare a Divine Codex for their juniors and relatives. You can talk to them about the details of the cooperation later. If nothing goes wrong, the Dawn will invite Sword Master Bai Heng from the Heaven Wasteland world to trade with them in 2 months. Sword Master Bai Heng. Although Sword Master Bai Heng is one of the most reputable powerful beings of the infinite wasteland world, he has never been easy to talk to. It won't be difficult to get additional benefits from him. A member beside Ling Yu was surprised. Being able to safely complete the trade is the limit. How can there be so many requests? Ling Yu said. After the voting and discussion of the people in the Dawn, the core of this transaction is the White Tiger Sacred Body of the White Tiger of the 4 sacred beasts. Cultivators who have awakened the bloodline of the Holy Beast White Tiger, the Spiritual Beast Red Tiger, the Tiger of Gingjin, the Snow Cloud Leopard and the Red Gold Leopard can sign up 1 month before the start of the transaction. We will conduct the final statistics. Fortunately, during the transaction, we will determine which level of the White Tiger Sacred Body our Taoist connotation can be exchanged for. If Your Excellency Pak Hui wants to join the transaction, you have to sign up in advance and report the Taoist connotation you can provide. Tsing Hui nodded. At the end of the 6th level of the Eternal Life realm, one's physique would be at the Prominent Divinity realm. Once the physique was completed, one's strength would increase by more than 10 times compared to the Green Darkness realm. However, the Prominent Divine stage, which was the 6th stage of the Longevity stage, placed a huge burden on the cultivator. The battle body that they conjured could only last for a few breaths of time. Thus, this stage was also known as the Illusionary Divine stage. Only by stepping into the Sage stage and condensing true elemental energy could one ensure that the Sage body would last forever. After chatting with Tsing Hui for a while, Ling Yu expressed her welcome and left immediately. Before she left, Tsing Hui considered that his chaotic stage was above Ling Yu's. With a thought, he activated his identification skill silently. Ling Yu. Chaotic stage, level 10. Attack, 49, Defense, 49, Speed, 48, Spirit, 51. According to the numbers, she was a strong person who had reached the peak of the 4th stage of the Longevity stage. However, his chaotic stage is obviously at level 10. Why did he tell the public that he was only at level 9? Xing Hui was surprised. Soon, he understood something. A new ability would appear in every 5 stages of the chaotic stage. Between level 9 and level 10, there was a divine skill that could allow one to reverse the situation. He had told the public that his chaotic stage was level 9. If his identity was exposed one day, someone would target his chaotic stage and try to capture him alive and sell him. His level 1 divine skill might become the key to turning the tide of the battle. He could not reveal all of his information at any time. Looking at Ling Yu who was leaving, Xing Hui taught her a lesson. Soon, Xing Hui found the other 3 traders. They called themselves Feng Hui, Bai Hai, and Yun Kong. Bai Hai was a female. Although she looked ordinary, she had an extraordinary aura. Your Excellency Pak Hui, how many Taoist rhymes do you have? Feng Hui could not wait to ask. My Taoist rhymes are limited. I only have 2 points. Feng Hui, Bai Hai, and Yun Kong were slightly disappointed. If that's the case, unless someone else is willing to make a bid within a month, we can only exchange for an ordinary holy grimoire. Next, the 3 of us will discuss who will be the inheritor of the holy grimoire. There can only be one inheritor. Can't we ask Swordmaster Bai Heng to pass on the holy grimoire to each of us once? Swordmaster Bai Heng is not easy to talk to. For 5 Taoist rhymes, he'll pass on the same ordinary holy grimoire to each of us once. What a joke! Imparting the holy grimoire in our sea of consciousness will consume a lot of mental energy. Then we can only change the way we speak. Whoever is willing to pay 2 Taoist rhymes will be the inheritor of the holy grimoire. The other 3 will be imparted orally by the inheritor. Yun Kong said. One was imparted directly by Swordmaster Bai Heng's consciousness while the other was imparted orally. The effects were naturally incomparable. Furthermore, they had to be careful of the other party cutting corners. My Taoist rhymes are limited. I choose to listen orally. Bai Hai said helplessly. I also choose to listen orally. I just want to prepare a holy grimoire for that brat at home. Spending 1 Taoist rhyme is my limit. Not long ago, I used my remaining Taoist rhymes to exchange for a 4th-tier low-grade defensive armor with Xingyao. Now, I only have 1 Taoist rhyme left. Feng Hui said. 4th-tier low-grade defensive armor. What a loss. Bai Hai and Yun Kong shook their heads at the same time. There's no other way. Taoist rhymes can be exchanged for 5th-tier or even 6th-tier divine armors in Infinite Wasteland. However, we don't have the ability to go there. Our incarnation technique can't bring divine armors. And it's not easy to meet a mysterious merchant who crosses the sea from Infinite Wasteland. If a merchant who doesn't know his background rashly rushes over, he might be captured alive and take away the chaos inheritance. For safety, I can only exchange for a 4th-tier armor. Then there's no other way. Miss Pak Hui, are you willing to pay 2 Taoist rhymes to become the inheritor of the holy grimoire? If not, we can only recruit another person to join us. At that time, we'll each take out techniques, divine armors, and elixirs to compete for the inheritor's identity. I'm willing to pay 2 Taoist rhymes to become the inheritor. Xing Hui said. Swordmaster Bai Heng was a famous great divine ability expert in Infinite Wasteland. When he imparted the holy grimoire to himself, he would more or less bring in some of his own understanding of the holy grimoire. This kind of understanding was hard to come by. That's good. It's settled then. We'll wait for a month to confirm the goods and arrange the location. Xing Hui nodded. In truth, the location of the transaction was the most dangerous. The moment someone leaked the information, the entire Sons of Chaos organization would be wiped out. It could be said that apart from those mighty existences who truly stood at the peak, any Son of Chaos who recklessly exposed themselves would be risking their lives. After discussing with Bai Hai and the others, Xing Hui agreed on a time to meet with Xi and Long and then left Ling Yu's personal space. After returning to his own personal space from Ling Yu's personal space, Xinghui couldn't help but chuckle. He truly had no idea that he was sitting on a mountain of treasures. His personal space, which was 10 meters long and wide, could be used to set up weapons of war. For example, the Lorraine Kingdom's famous Origin Spirit Cannon could kill anyone below the stellar energy realm. It was an excellent weapon for destroying cities. As long as he completed the adjustments in his personal space, he could take out the Origin Spirit Cannon at a critical moment and fire it. It seemed that he had to think of a way to make use of his personal space as much as possible. With this thought in mind, Xinghui focused on the Tier 4 flying sword. The transactions of the Sons of Chaos had always been dangerous. If something unexpected happened, he would have to refine this Tier 4 flying sword to have a chance of protecting himself. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.